The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act has been satisfied with respect to this meeting of the Township Council. Thank you. The meeting time and date were included in the public meeting notice, along with the public internet link and telephone call-in information. Said notice and meeting agenda was posted in the municipal building on the Township's legal notice webpage at least 48 hours preceding the start time of this meeting. The agenda and handouts can be viewed online at veronanj.org/council meetings. Public comment period will be held on the orders listed on the meeting agenda, and instructions on how to comment will be provided at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland? Here. Councilman Roman?
Here.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Present.
Mayor Tamboro?
Here.
Mayor also present is Township Attorney Brian Aloya, Township Manager Kevin O'Sullivan, Deputy Township Manager Michael Kraus, myself, Municipal Clerk Jennifer Kiernan.
Thank you. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, for the mayor's report this evening, just a couple items. In the last 2 weeks, the township had its annual Lunar New Year celebration. So I'd like to thank our Mandarin teachers in the public school system, Betty Ho, Jenny Shin, and Angie Yang for organizing the event. It was a packed house for sure, Deputy Mayor. Right? There were a lot of folks in there, and the high school students had set up stations, and kids went around and got their passports stamped as they went to different stations. It was great. And thank you to Elisa Northrup and our recreation and buildings and grounds teams for a really successful event. Unfortunately, we had to leave early for the planning board, but I got to see about an hour of it, and it was a great time. Also had the opportunity to attend the Interfaith Ramadan meal at the Verona Community Center that was sponsored by the Verona Clergy Council. Anything done by our Clergy Council is a really nice event. This one especially had a theme that was very close to my heart, and that's of charity. And we had that conversation and many great thoughts shared from different faiths on that. And I'd like to thank the Peace Islands Institute for sponsoring the meal and their president for showing up at the event and speaking. It was great to see everybody there. Immediately prior to this meeting, we had our annual Irish American flag raising out in the Civic Center, attended by a number of different groups. I'd like to thank our Shillelagh Club bagpipers for being there, Bodie and Dylan. It was always great to see them and to have them part of that, as well as the Women of Irish Heritage, the Ancient Order of the Hibernians, and the Emerald Society were all represented. The planning board has been busy in the last couple of months, working on everything related to affordable housing and consistency with the master plan. We've had several meetings on that, and the final one that would deal with a lot of these issues will be at the end of this month. I encourage everybody to tune in tomorrow to Governor Sherrill's budget address. Anybody who is interested in municipal finance and state finance, this is a really important event to watch and to really learn how this could potentially affect Verona and all the municipalities and the state and the programs that we know. So please tune in tomorrow to the governor's address. I look forward to seeing it myself. At this time, we have a special recognition. And in a minute, we'll call this wonderful volunteer forward. But this evening, we get to recognize Carol Stafford, who has been a longtime Verona resident, but also a member of the Verona Public Library Board of Trustees for half a century, which is an incredibly long time, and it shows a significant amount of dedication to this community that all of us should strive to emulate. And this evening, I am honored to read a proclamation presented to Ms. Stafford, and I hope that we can all follow in her example as we move forward. The proclamation reads, whereas the Verona Public Library Board of Trustees and the Township of Verona recognize that sustained leadership and dedicated public service are foundational to the strength, stability, and continued success of the library. And whereas Carol Stafford, resident of Verona for over half a century, has devoted more than 50 years of dedicated service to our community, serving as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Verona Public Library. And whereas throughout her 5 decades of service, Ms. Stafford's unwavering spirit, strategic direction, fiscal oversight, and dedication have left a measurable and lasting impact on our treasured library through her institutional knowledge and collaborative spirit. And whereas Carol Stafford's steadfast support and vision was invaluable during the library's renovations in 2016 and helped to ensure that the original Carnegie Library structure dating back to 1923 was kept intact while incorporating the final 2-story addition and renovated basement space that houses a children's activity room, new reading areas, improved archive space, and new featured space for Verona's local history. And whereas the Board of Trustees of the Verona Public Library recently renamed the Jack Foley Meeting Room as the Carol Stafford Meeting Room in honor and recognition of her 50 years of dedicated service and distinguished service on the Board of Trustees. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Dr. Christopher Tamboro, Mayor of the Township of Verona, hereby formally recognize Carol Stafford's extraordinary public service, and I hereby designate Monday, March 9th, 2026, as Carol Stafford Day in the Township of Verona. Be it further proclaimed that I call upon all residents, municipal staff to join in this celebration over many years of service to Verona and our beloved public library. Her contributions will have a lasting impact on generations of residents and has helped ensure that the library remains a vital, trusted public institution. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the official seal of the Township of Verona, New Jersey, to be affixed on this 9th day of March in the year 2026. Congratulations, Carol. Carol, you're welcome to come up here if you want to.
Please, to the
Use the mic, and then we'll take a picture. But please,
Okay. So am I facing you?
you face us, and the camera.
My audience, or whatever.
Just pull the microphone close to you.
Oh. Like
There
this?
you go.
They didn't say I'd have to do this. Okay, thank you very much for honoring me tonight. I'm amazed that I've been on the board for 50 years, and I'd like to hope that I would be on for another 50 years, but by that point, I would be a doddering old coot or worse. So we won't even talk about that. I've always been a library user. When I was about 8, I lived on Long Island, and I used to walk 12 blocks to the library frequently. And I would take out 10 books, which was the maximum that I was allowed to take out each time. And I couldn't wait till I got home. So I would carry the books like this, and I would take the top book and open it up to the pages and read it and go like this when it was going to be the curb so I could step down. So I always liked libraries. I always liked reading, and I'm very pleased to be here. And I've also been very pleased to work with everyone on the library board. They're very, very good people. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay up here. We have your, come on down, everybody.
What am I doing? Oh.
If we get a little tighter.
You get first. I like to get a picture.
Now I invite our Essex County liaison, Jay Coltrane, to come up and share an Essex County update.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Carol, congratulations on 50 years being on the library board. I don't know if I'll make 50 years on one board, but we'll try our best. There's 50 years of the Cherry Blossom Festival, and that will start April 4th to the 19th. A couple of things on this. We have on Saturday, April 4th, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. is a Cherry Blossom bike race throughout the park. Sunday, April 12th at 10 a.m., we have the Cherry Blossom 10K run. That's for the deputy mayor to be out there and do a great run. And Saturday, April 18th, 9 a.m. start. It's the children's 1 mile fun run and family day at the Prudential Concert Center in the Southern Division. And finally, on Sunday, April 19th at 11 to 5 p.m. is the Bloom Fest in the Northern Division. There are postcards that you'll be getting in the mail, but I will also drop some off this week to the town clerk or the manager's office so we can leave them in the vestibule. Any comments, questions?
Any questions for Jay? Go ahead, Councilman.
I have a question. There's been some resident concerns about Verona Park and the geese situation there. I know that there was some communication from the county regarding cleanup, and I was just curious if there's ongoing monitoring, maybe any kind of update that you could provide this evening, because I know that we did have some residents concerned.
There is always monitoring,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, they're looking to progress on cleaning everything up in the park. Like I said before, I use the park quite often myself.
Yes, I know you do.
So does I get a report from my wife almost every morning walking the dog. So I know what's going on. And
Mhm.
yes, I will see the parks director tomorrow morning and pass along. Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Deputy Mayor.
No, I'm good.
There you go. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And now we're going to go on to the Township Manager's report. Mr. O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be very brief in my report. We have a lengthy agenda with affordable housing and budget discussions to still go through, but I'll just highlight a couple of the projects that we have going on. We have the Linden Avenue construction project that is, we are doing in-house water service, lead service line testing this week. The contractor themselves will be out anticipated by the end of the month to start construction on Linden Avenue. Everett Field, the contractor was able to remobilize to the site today. The snow melted and they are back in construction on that site as well. We have our Claridge Drive pump station project. The contractor did lose a little time with snow, but they have been moving through the foundation of that pump house building, and that project is ongoing. And then the last item that I will highlight is I guess those are the highlights of the projects. I'll unless there's any questions from the council.
Any questions for Mr. O'Sullivan? Hearing none.
Mayor, if I know we have a few items on the agenda, but with our professionals available for affordable housing, I'd wonder if the council would consider moving into affordable housing topics and matters first.
Yep. I don't have an issue. I just know there's one. We discussed the one.
There is one. Do we want to?
We'll just do the one budget now. Sorry to everybody else that has to wait, but
Sure. We have one department that has to leave a little bit earlier tonight, but
I was like, where is
I'm usually in the back.
You left me already. All right, come on up.
Sorry, my dance card's very full.
That's okay.
It's the only one I can't find.
Rescue Squad does not have a tab,
Okay.
so it won't be on there. It's in, let's see, it's in number 4, I think. No, number 3. Their clothing allowance is in tab 3, number, let's find you. Where are you?
Number 23, Rescue Squad. Their clothing allowance hasn't changed. It's been 65,000 last year and this year as proposed. But Ricky's here, wants to talk to you about capital requests. So let me pull out that for you. No problem. So you are. I know you can probably talk about it. Go ahead.
I'm okay. I appreciate if you letting me buck the line. Normally I'm in uniform, but as you can tell, my dance card day has been incredibly full between work, volunteer responsibilities, and my wife not putting me in an early grave. So nice combination of the three, generally speaking. The clothing allowance has been pretty good since we moved it up the last couple years ago. So I'm really not asking much there. I know the capital asks seem kind of odd because the ambulance we bonded for 3 years ago is finally getting delivered, but the lead time in new ambulance is like 3 to 4 years, and the prices just keep going on up. And with all of the buildings of apartment buildings, influx in residents, anticipated call increases, and also the increase in length of time ambulances are down for minor fixes because parts are so impossible to get. Our old model was 15 years frontline service, retire the ambulance. We're moving to 12 years frontline, 4 years reserve. So when the ambulances are down, we're still having 3 ambulances. The environment for EMS is kind of a disaster at the moment throughout the state and the country, and getting mutual aid is not as easy as it once were. So having the extra ambulances to be able to staff up the resources is just kind of a necessity more than anything else. I mean, we generally speaking use very little mutual aid. I think my first year as chief a decade ago, we probably turfed like 25% of our calls to mutual aid. And I don't think we've gone above 1% of mutual aid over the last decade between myself and Cassie are the chiefs. So we're really going the right direction. And our asks are really just to expand our services. The park has gotten back to, if not busier than it was pre-COVID. So we're there quite often, and navigating it and getting patients across it can just be disasters, which is why we were asking for the gator, because it's on the far side of the park. We can't get to the patient quickly and we can't move them quickly or safely in any kind of a manner. Because regardless of the stretcher and the horde of first responders, people don't necessarily get out of the way. They don't see it coming. And we do borrow Montclairs from time to time, but they also have lots of parks in their town, so it's not always a guarantee. And I think that was it for the 2 capital requests. But like I said, the ambulance that we're asking for now, realistically, probably isn't going to get paid for until 2030, 2020. I'm going to guess probably 2030, the way it's been going. Because this ambulance was supposed to take 3 years and we got it in 4. So they're expecting 3.5 years. So I'm expecting to get it in 4.5 years because that's just how manufacturing is currently. And on the other note, I'd like to say is that if you're not aware, next year marks our 100th anniversary. We'll be the first aid squad in the state of New Jersey to hit 100 years, and also be providing 24-hour volunteer service with no career staff. Most of the ones that were older than us have gone extinct or closed their doors due to either lack of support or lack of volunteers or a little bit of both. And it's something we really don't have in Verona. We've always had very good support from the community, the council, the mayor, the town employees, as well as the residents. You know, running an organization completely on donations has always been relatively a struggle, but we do pretty well. I mean, the biggest savior for us has been with Rescue 8, switching to a model where instead of us paying 60% of the ambulance, the township has been bonding it because the prices of vehicles have just gotten so insane. It's just kind of crazy. I mean, the ambulance we are getting delivery of this year is smaller and has less equipment than the previous ambulance, and it's the same price, which I don't really rationalize that stuff well, but it's just kind of where we're at with the economy. But I do appreciate your service. We're going to be doing a lot of 100th anniversary events. We're going to roll them out. We have a committee already formed in the precursors of getting everything together. I expect by the end of summer, we'll start rolling out more firm dates, but now we're just trying to get ourselves organized. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Tempesta? Just note for the record that neither Councilwoman McGrath and I can ask Mr. Tempesta questions, but everybody else can. So
maybe recognized.
Ms. Roman.
This might be more of a fiscal sort of mechanics question when we're dealing with very long lead time items like this. How does the cash flow on this work? We actually have to bond for it up front, and we sit on the money until the asset is delivered?
So you don't have to borrow on it.
Don't.
You have to do a bond ordinance
Right.
for it. But
Okay.
you don't have to actually borrow the money until you're ready.
Okay, but if it becomes part of our large general capital ordinance,
Then yes.
okay.
We can separate it out if that is something that you want to do, but
The only thing that I would avoid is just sitting on the cash and paying interest on it.
of course. Yes.
That's just my only ask. If I have no problem funding this early because we know that's the only way to
Right.
do it. I just don't want to pay interest on cash.
Understood.
and this was from lessons learned, because we didn't know this going into the current ambulance we built. It just kept getting extended a couple months for varieties of different reasons.
Right.
And like we were supposed to deliver first quarter last year.
Right.
So I feel silly asking for a new truck, but when you realize the lead time and how our replacement plan is, I mean, our oldest ambulance is a 2002. It's got over 100,000 miles on it. And I mean, it runs like a tank. It's a great engine and we'll get more years out of it. But by the time it gets rotated out, we could put QQ plates on it.
Right. Yeah, we all know. I mean, supply chain issues for
It's-
all emergency vehicles in general right now, nationwide. We know that the issue is
Just even
horrendous.
supplies in general. There's some
Right.
emergency capital, Chris, from last year I'm still chasing down to get because this piece or that piece is on back order. It's just
Right.
unfortunately something I've lessons learned in capital budgeting. So we're just trying to keep our plan out and adapt with the timelines that are given to us.
Thank you for working with them.
Any other questions? Okay, you're free to run the squad meeting.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But seriously, thank you for all your support. Organizations like ours don't survive without a community behind it, both administration, the council, and the residents. It's just not a thing anymore these days.
Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. Before we go back to affordable housing, Ms. Mascara, could you email us in the meantime I only had a print copy of the capital list. If you could email that. to
I
me.
have it. I can
Oh, do
send
you have it?
Yeah.
Send it.
Does anyone else need it? The
Yes.
spreadsheet?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
please. I just need the capital.
So, yeah, the capital spreadsheet. I can send
All
it out to you guys.
Then Council Roman has it. For some reason, I
Nope.
didn't get it. All right, I have the other one. Okay. Mr. O'Sullivan, we wanted to go now to the affordable housing items, yes?
Yes, please. Our affordable housing attorney is here tonight, Mr. Plasek. He was going to give a brief update on current status, and then we can discuss the action for the evening.
Mr. Plachek, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'll be brief. The planners will take more time, so I'll let them get to it, not keep everyone here. So where we're at now is thank you to the efforts of the planning board. The Housing Element Fair Share Plan as amended by the agreement pursuant to those settlement agreements that were entered into and authorized has now been accomplished. That was adopted, and that's what we're here for tonight, along with other ordinances. And those all will together constitute the required implementing actions that need to be taken by this body as the governing body of the township. And then I will obtain from the clerk a copy of the final ordinances and resolutions adopted tonight. Tomorrow morning, I'll have that. I'll get that uploaded onto the docket with the court. And at that point, what we're doing is moving forward with an extension through the end of April. And it's based twofold. One subsection in the statute allows for an extension based on an extreme weather event. And as you know, one of the properties involved, 251.5 Grove, required the area needs study and then the report authored. And due to the status of that property, is essentially a vacant property. And the way it's set up, access was unable to be obtained due to the snow events. And so that delayed some of the efforts on that. But we've looked at the schedule and we've gone over the schedule with the planning board at the last meeting last week, the special meeting where we accomplished the adoption of the plan. And we were able to confirm a schedule that would require no special meetings. So assuming no, hiccups due to weather or other events that would cancel a regularly scheduled public meeting, either the planning board or this body as the governing body of the township, we'll be in a position to have everything move forward through then with the designation. And what we will do is at the same council meeting, we'll just do it in sequential order. We'll have resolution designating, finding it to be an area in need. And then we'll have the ordinance introduced for the plan, because the plan will be ready at that point because the findings of the study are clear, we believe. So that's where we are. So we keep moving forward as other towns are, hopefully. And we will be through this, and you will be ultimately receiving your certification of compliance for the fourth round, providing the township with immunity going forward for the remainder of the fourth round, which continues till June 30th of 2035.
Thanks, Mr. Plachek. Any questions for Mr. Plachek? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Haben, welcome back.
Yes, I am back. Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to let Sam discuss the zoning
Just
ordinances.
1 second.
Yeah, sure,
For any member of the public who does not know who this gentleman at the lectern is, this is Dan Halbin, our affordable housing planner. Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll follow that up with don't shoot the messenger. Thank you, Mayor. So tonight I'm going to let Sam talk about the zoning ordinances because there are several on the agenda tonight. Tonight I'm just going to talk about some of the other just kind of core affordable housing items that we're asking you to take some action on tonight. The first is endorsing the housing element and fair share plan that the planning board adopted last week. This has been historically a core part of the affordable housing process or compliance process because it shows that the municipality, the people who actually make the zoning decisions are committed to executing the plan because you have most of the power to actually make this all happen according to how the plan is written. Another item is approving or adopting the spending plan for your Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is a document that identifies or I guess projects out how much revenue we anticipate the township is going to take into its Affordable Housing Trust Fund over the next decade and propose how we intend to spend that funding, those funds. And which if you want me to get into kind of the high level of that, I can. And the third thing is approving the affirmative marketing plan, which was prepared by your administrative agent. And just to kind of a reminder, your administrative agent is the one who actually makes sure that the affordable housing units go to who they're supposed to go to. She operates the affordability assistance programs, which is one of those sort of kind of passive bonus programs that we have to have in the background to make sure that affordable housing is actually affordable to the income qualified tenants. And the affirmative marketing plan is a document that basically states how she intends to ensure that the qualified people are aware of the available units. There's one ordinance that I'm also here to talk about tonight, which is the ordinance basically replacing your existing affordable housing and development fee ordinances. As I previously shared, since the state adopted the new affordable housing statute in 2024, the Department of Community Affairs and HMFA, the Housing Mortgage Finance Agency in New Jersey, updated existing rules or created new rules that towns are required to codify in their local ordinances, which is what this ordinance would do. Would you like me to get into detail on any of these things? There is one item that I think that we want to amend in real time here, which I can get into.
The spending plan, there was an amendment to the spending plan that was circulated to the council. You can maybe highlight just the change.
So on page, please tell me I numbered the pages. Yes, page 3, middle of the page, the language in the version of the spending plan that was originally circulated said that the township will commit up to $150,000 to provide special needs housing at the 885 Bloomfield Avenue development. Because we are going through the financial, I don't know what the official term is, but kind of the assessment of the financial requirements for that project, we are proposing that the spending plan be approved with revisions. The revisions basically stating that should we find that the $150,000 isn't required for the group home or the special needs units at 885 Bloomfield Avenue, the township can use the $150,000 for other purposes, which may include going toward your affordable housing professional expenses, which is called the administrative expenses, or toward the creation of affordable housing elsewhere in the township. The one thing that I will note with that is that you are required to allocate some of your funds to what is called affordability assistance, which the funding of a special needs housing would qualify as. So we will need, regardless of how much money we're talking about, where it's going, you will need to allocate some portion of that money for that affordability assistance if we determine that it's not needed to make 885 Bloomfield Avenue realistic. And then there's this one other place where I just realized we'll make the language a little bit softer as well, which is on middle of page 4, where we restate that we would be making $150,000 available for special needs housing. We're just going to say up to $150,000. So I would suggest that we adopt with those revisions.
And we had one other revision from the planning board, Dan, which was the bank name. Did we ever? On
Yes.
one?
Oh boy, let me see.
It still says Citizens.
It still says, I think it is Citizens. It is not
It's
Investors.
It is
Is that
Citizens.
correct?
though?
It's
Okay.
Yeah,
It
wasn't
Citizens
Citizens.
bought
It
Investors.
It was Investors.
but-
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we
Yeah.
know at least what bank. Yes, Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you. So
Yep.
on this particular point with the
Yes.
spending plan, there's so many projects. So Hillcrest also, don't they also have special needs?
They
Units.
do, yes.
So I think my question is why this project and not that project?
So the money was determined that we should go to this project because it was part of our negotiations to keep them at 28 total units. We want to make sure that they are able to make, a portion of those units special need. Because if they can't, they may not be able to. They may come back and say they need more units on that site. We know that in previous discussions with a group home provider that we may be connecting with the 885 developers, they indicated that they, I think they said they may have needed like $50,000 a unit or something like that, which is what this comes out to about. This is that's why this site was specified for this purpose.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, there's a lot of great evidence that there is a shortage of special needs housing, and it's wonderful that we're actually going to be building some as part of this process.
Yeah.
But I do think some of those negotiations, I went back to the settlement agreement. I didn't see it really clearly in there, and that's why I was kind of questioning.
Yeah, I don't know that it's in the settlement agreement specifically that we would be providing the funds, and I would defer to the attorney who's here, but it is to make sure that that at least 3 of the units on that site can be special needs. So, but to the point that I think is important, which is that we don't know that they're going to need it. That's why we're coming back and revising the language.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions from Mr. Halbin? Okay, thank you, Dan.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. For the public, this is San Siobhan from H2M, the Township planner.
Just for the numbers. Okay, so how would you like me to go through each of the ordinance that is
Just,
in?
I mean, any updates you have, because
Okay,
these
sure.
are all,
Sure. So as you
we
know,
went over them last
yes,
meeting.
I had actually presented in the last 2 or 3 meetings, but this is the second reading, and the planning board has given their comments. And I'm going to start with 320 Bloomfield and 11 Church Street, redevelopment area. The planning board recommended to have a landscape area of 10 feet between the Bloomfield Avenue sidewalk in front of any building or structure, and a 6-foot privacy fence made of solid or vinyl on property line that borders a residential property. And also more specifically, they wanted us to not include a ghost kitchen or virtual kitchen in one of the permitted uses, which is a shared kitchen. So those were the three recommendations. And when you adopt it, it's obviously within your rights. But would you like me to go through everything and then you'll make the adoption?
Yeah, why don't you go through everything
Okay.
and
Okay,
and the council can stop you if they have questions.
I'm
You know,
sorry?
the council can ask you to recognize if they have any questions, but if there are no questions, just keep.
Okay. Then the second one was 176-200 Bloomfield. This was prepared as per our settlement agreement. So the planning board accepted it. They didn't have any recommendations. The third ordinance was to supplement the standards in the TC zone district. This was again a part of our settlement agreement, and the edits that I had explained at the last meeting was based upon what our special adjudicator and our settlement agreement required us to do. The planning board determined that there were no provisions that were inconsistent, and I can move on to the next one. The next one is 420 Bloomfield Avenue. We designated this as an area in need of redevelopment last week. Whenever there was a snowstorm 2 weeks ago, I provided a presentation on this. The planning board heard it on February 26th, and there were two recommendations to tighten the language. One of which was to ensure that all the off-street parking requirements must be satisfied within the redevelopment area. The second one was to be more specific regarding permitted and prohibited uses within the redevelopment area. So these were the two recommendations. Moving on, this was for 885 Bloomfield Avenue, which we did a consistency review on February 26th. Here, for this redevelopment plan, the planning board had a few more comments compared to the prior ones, one of which was given the rear yard along residential properties. It was recommended that at least 90% of the rear yard must have a 10-foot buffer, to require a buffer between the bus stop and the nearest residential unit, to require all residential structures to have at least double pane windows, given the impact of the buses and the traffic, and to require filters of grade MERV 17 or greater, to require all fencing to be either board-on-board solid wood, vinyl, or wood, and to require compliance with the township's tree ordinance, which is chapter 493, article 2, and to require tree plantings to be in accordance with zoning ordinance 150.11.7, which is plant selection and placement, attachment 3. So this is it. These are all the ordinances that we were discussing. One other I think I would like to add is the TCMU. If I didn't speak about that, I don't believe I did. The TCMU zone, as per the settlement agreement and the special adjudicator required to have standard language. The current iteration was 15% set aside for rental and 20% set aside for sale units. They want across the board 20%, and that was something I discussed 2 weeks ago. So there are no planning board found it not inconsistent, so there were no other comments.
Thank you, Sam. Any questions comments from the council? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to H5. When we spoke at the planning board meeting we discussed, one of the board members had questions because of the building being close to Bloomfield Avenue and the air quality.
Correct.
And we discussed going to MERV 17 as far as filters go, and doing a little research. We should change that to MERV 13.
Okay.
Because no residential units go above MERV 13 because 17 is too dense.
Okay.
And I asked a couple of people about it, and they said 13 would be the most you want to go.
Okay.
Right.
And I will, just for our clerk's understanding, once this is accepted, I'll update the exhibit and send it over to you.
And the applicant's counsel's in the audience. You don't have any problems with lowering the MERV rating, sir, right? Okay.
Deputy Mayor, if you hadn't brought that up, I would have.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none. Thank you. If you guys want to have a seat and relax for a second. At this point, because our experts are on the clock, I'd like to call for a motion to change the order of business to consider ordinances H1 through H7, and resolutions L1 through L4 and L11 at this time so that we can enjoy the expertise of our experts.
Are we doing R4? I mean, L4?
Yep, I said L4. Yep, 1 through 4 and 11.
I have one question on L4. I
Well,
think it would be.
We could do it when we get
Okay.
there. Does anybody could somebody make the motion to change the order of business?
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilwoman
Second.
Holland. The second is by Councilwoman McGrath. This time we can do a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. This time, the next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2026-02 on second reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Adopting the redevelopment plan for 320 Bloomfield Avenue and 11 Church Street, Block 704, lots 18 and 20, redevelopment area.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance?
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is by the Deputy Mayor of Councilman Roman. You were Deputy Mayor once, weren't you?
I was.
Like 8 years ago or something? Okay.
Back
All
in the
right.
day.
At this time, I'll open for public comment on ordinance 2026-02 only. Madam Clerk, would you please read the public participation statement?
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this matter only? If you're attending by Zoom, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button on your monitor. If you're dialing in by phone, please press *9. If you are attending in person, please raise your hand and be acknowledged before approaching the lectern. Once recognized, clearly state only your name and township of residence for the record. You're not required to provide your street address. However, if you do, please note that these meetings will be posted on the township's YouTube channel and addresses will not be redacted for any purpose. You'll have 4 minutes to address the council and there can be no cross dialogue during this public portion. After everyone wishing to speak has been heard, the council may address your comments and or questions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any public participation on this item only? Hearing none, I close public participation. Any council discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor, ordinance 2026-02 adopted 5-0. It will be published according to law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2026-03 on second reading. Would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Adopting the redevelopment plan for 176-200 Bloomfield Avenue, Block 202, lots 1 and 23 for rehabilitation area.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance?
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilwoman McGrath.
Mr. Mayor,
Deputy Mayor.
if I may, I'm going to recuse myself from this because I live within 200 feet of the property.
So noted, Deputy Mayor. At this time, we'll open for public comment on this ordinance only. This is the 176-200 Bloomfield Avenue property. Madam Clerk, you don't have to read the public participation statement again, but we are doing public participation for this item only, and this is open at this time. Hearing none, I hereby close public comment. Any council discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor, 2026-03 passes by vote of 4-0 with 1 recusal.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2026-04 on second reading. Would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending and supplementing the standards of the Town Center Zone District in Chapter 150 zoning of the Code of the Township of Verona.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I will move this ordinance. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second is by the Deputy Mayor. This time I'll open for public comment on this ordinance only. The same public comment statement applies. We're going to say that a lot tonight. Just by the way. Hearing no public comment, I hereby close public comment. I did just want to make one comment before I forget. I want to thank the planning board for all of their deliberations on all of these items. It has been many meetings and some lengthy meetings, and the planning board offered a lot of very good suggestions on how to tighten these up. So it's great to see that process, and I thank not only our planning board members, but our experts who really guide this process, and our township manager, Mr. O'Sullivan, for everybody for jumping in and offering their expertise, and our zoning official, Kathleen Misch, and our zoning secretary, Dee Dee Carpinelli, and our planning board secretary for all their work organizing all of this. It's been quite a feat in the last couple months. Any other council discussion?
Yes, if I may.
Councilman Roman.
The prohibition on ghost kitchens, the language doesn't look like it's made it into the actual ordinance. It was in the redevelopment plan for Bloomfield Church, and in the zoning code here, the definition is still here, but it's not explicitly banned in the language.
No, actually, I have. I'm
Ms.
sorry.
Siobhan, come on.
I'm speaking out of turn, sorry. No, I did make that change and forwarded it to our clerk, but I can send that ordinance again. I definitely made that change right after the meeting.
Okay. I'm looking at the.
That might be my error.
Yeah, I'm looking at the version that's on the Google Drive and that was in the packet. So let's just make sure that we're just passing the right version.
Yes, I made changes to that.
Okay.
Do you want to table that until we can? Well, we can table it until later in the meeting until we can get the right version in front of us.
Yeah, we can just clarify where that language is and just read that little chunk of language. I just have been searching for the word ghost in it, and I only find it in the definition.
Sam, if you can find it real quick, otherwise we'll give you a couple minutes. We'll go through some of the other ones.
You found it?
No, I will look while you keep. If you want to keep.
Okay, we could potentially table this and move on to the next ordinance and wrap right back around to it, maybe. Or,
why don't you move to table? And then...
so I'll move to table this until and let our professionals review quickly.
Okay, motion table H3. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconds by the deputy mayor. This is a non-discussable motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right.
I actually found it. I can wait.
Why don't you just make sure, and then we'll come back. We did all that tabling, and
I know.
Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda is ordinance 2026-05 on second reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Adopting the redevelopment plan for 420 Bloomfield Avenue, redevelopment area, block 701, lot 3.
Thank you. Would somebody move this ordinance?
So moved.
Motion is made by the deputy mayor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilman Roman. This time I'll open for public comment on ordinance 2026-05 only. The same public comment statement applies. Hearing none, I close public comment. Any council discussion? I would just like to acknowledge some residents have reached out and asked some questions specifically about this property. Mr. O'Sullivan, I'm wondering if maybe you could just give a brief summary of some of those comments and your answers.
Sure, Mayor. The general questions that had been raised by the public were surrounding ingress, egress to and from the site, parking on the site, and any potential traffic impacts to the area. Generally speaking, the answers across the board have been that the project itself will still be subject to final design. It will need to go before the planning board for a site plan approval. At that time, the planning board would be tasked with reviewing those kinds of elements of the project, and likely one of those items would probably include a traffic study from a traffic expert. But again, those would be coming at a later date at the time of application to the planning board.
Thank you. I will note, just as a comment, I was originally not in favor of this plan, and I think our administration, our planners did a good job of negotiating this down, and we had numerous conversations about this in executive session. I can only share what my thoughts are now, but what I think is important about this development is not only were we able to get all the parking on site, which was a big concern. Most of the units, the large majority of the units in this development are single or one bedroom units. which do not have an impact on the school system, which is very important. I thought that was helpful. And in addition, the property itself is serving no purpose to the town at this point other than being a nuisance. So there was that as well. So I think that the designs, all the design specifications and all of that will be helpful, and us building in some design standards into plans is also really helpful as well, based on some of the first drafts of what this might look like that were sent, and our planners, and our township manager went in and refocused the developer as far as making a more attractive building. So for those reasons, I will be voting yes this evening, and that would not have been the case if those things have not been met at this point. And it's also important to note that in all of these items, as we discuss, as our attorney points out all the time, is that our hands are very much tied in a lot of ways as far as what we can and can't do. But I think this was probably the best we could do on this site at this point. Any other discussion? Councilor Roman?
I'll just concur that with a lot of the comments we got about traffic and parking, that was an extensive area of focus for the council, was looking at the circulation plans on site, thinking about how vehicles enter and exit, including vehicles such as service trucks, making sure that all of the uses within the parcel had parking allocated. That was extensively reviewed. And then as they go into site plan review, there will be further valuation of that. The framework is here in this plan, and then the specifics of making sure it complies will be during that stage. So,
thank you, Councilman Roman. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro?
Yes.
Mayor, ordinance passes 5-0 and will be published according to law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2026-06 on second reading. Would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Adopting the redevelopment plan for 885 Bloomfield Avenue, redevelopment area, block 2205, lot 6.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move this ordinance, please?
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second? Well, as mayor, I guess that's my job. I will second the motion. As you can, I'll wait for my comments in a minute. This time we'll have public comment on ordinance 2026-06. The same public comment statement applies. Ms. Gray. Nope, sorry. I called on Ms. Gray, sir. If you can. I'll let you have the last word, Counselor. You can.
Hi, Michelle Gruet, Verona. Usually I come with prepared remarks and I don't have them tonight. But I just wanted to first thank the town council and the planning board. I know that there's been a lot of time spent with negotiating and trying to put everything together for 885 Bloomfield Ave, the Valenti tract. It's a lot of building to be put on that land. And I know that that has been negotiated and there's been, a lot of discussions already. But as a resident, I'm really trying my best to keep up with the legal documents that are available to the public to review before meetings. And I know that the planning board did vote that it was not inconsistent, although it was not a unanimous vote. And I brought up at the planning board, and I just wanted to bring up here that there's this term called the maximum allowed lot size. I can't remember the exact term, but it's basically gives you a percentage of how much of the land can be covered by building and parking lot, I guess would be a way to describe it. And when you look at 885 Bloomfield Ave, it's zoned A3 residential as far as I can see. And that means that it's zoned for townhouses, which is the plan. The A3 in the master plan, A3 residential lots have a 55% maximum allowed lot usage. Then coming into the town council meeting, I guess maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I looked at all of the materials in advance, and I noticed that in the draft information that was, being given out with the agenda, it said 65%, so that there had been an increase. And then I was very surprised that what was then shown during the meeting in public, it had then jumped to 70%. And then that ended up being the number that was voted on. And I did go to the planning board looking for a little bit of clarification of how these numbers could have changed compared to the master plan. And during the public part of the planning board meeting, it was mentioned that lawyers had come to the town like an hour before the town council meeting and asked for these changes, asked for the maximum allowed lot percentage to be increased to 70%. So I guess part of what I'm saying is it's really difficult as a resident to try to keep up with what's going on and to try to follow it and to really try to understand. And it almost, I don't know what the fairness is, but, there's meetings happening an hour before, but agenda items have already been distributed to the public. I just would love some clarification on that. And also, I am still stuck on really what the total lot coverage should be. Because right now it's a wooded lot. So it is a huge impact on that part of town. Thank you for your time.
Why don't we wait until all the public comment is done, and then we'll address. Mr. Ferkser?
Stephen Ferkser from Greenbaum Rowe, Smith and Davis, attorneys for A&R Skyline. I just noted that there was discussion earlier that the deputy mayor brought up with respect to the review of the recommendations of the planning board. So we'll just note that in your the governing body review of the report of the planning board and its recommendations, that you should note the modification from the MERV factor that's in the recommendation that's in the what was provided to the public and what would be ultimately adopted in the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? I hereby close public comment. Mr. O'Sullivan, did you want to touch briefly on that question from Ms. Guay?
Sure. I can say that the township reached a settlement to assume township compliance with fourth round affordable housing obligations, and we need to assure immunity for the township from builders' remedy lawsuits, which could result in a more intensive redevelopment of the site. So in order to remain compliant, the 70% is what was reviewed by our professionals and recommended by our professionals for compliance purposes.
Thank you, Mr. O'Sullivan. All right. Ms. Siobhan, did you have anything other than that?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And any council discussion on this item? Councilwoman McGrath?
Thank you. I do want to echo appreciation, since I'm taking this moment to speak, for our professionals who, for all of this work, who have negotiated the best that they could for the township, for the planning board, and their thoughtful comments on revising this plan. I appreciate their additions. Consistent with my earlier votes, I won't be supporting the redevelopment plan tonight, but I do want to thank the residents, volunteers, and advocates and people who live in the neighborhood who are voicing their needs, and I hope they continue throughout the process as we, in the future, have a site plan for this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Holland?
Thank you. I too won't be supporting the redevelopment plan this evening, but I do also just want to echo the prior statements. I do understand affordable housing law, and I understand the importance of avoiding builders' remedy lawsuits. However, I've previously articulated some of my concerns regarding this area as part of our affordable housing plan and as an area in need of redevelopment. But that is not to say that I do not appreciate the hard work of our representatives in the administration and our professionals. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Councilman Roman.
Thank you. I'll just generally comment about where we are on these projects and sort of how we end up at this stage. I mean, the principles of the affordable housing plans in New Jersey and that whole framework compels you as a township very frequently to build more densely than you otherwise would in order to meet your numbers of affordable housing units and your obligation. It's a process of a lot of compromises where we have developers who have sites who state that they are buildable, who choose to intervene or to negotiate with the township. And we have to assemble a plan by which we're going to meet our number. And that frequently has us looking at different sites within the township, figuring out what's the best way to accomplish that, ensuring that we can get buy-in from the courts and Fair Share Housing Center and come to a plan that's achievable. Once we have that plan in place and we've made these larger decisions about where things are going to go, we then start looking at each of the sites as we develop these redevelopment plans. And at that point in time, it shifts to mitigating impact as much as possible. We recognize very much that in this town, that any site that we choose, there's going to be residences all around it. Those are real people that live there, and this is quite literally in their backyard. So we look at these and we go, okay, how do we make this less intrusive to the neighborhood? On this particular parcel, the unit count has gone down very, very substantially from where it was originally proposed at. Obviously, we've been concentrating very heavily on what are the measures that provide adequate buffering to the existing residences around it? How do we make it so that it is less imposing on those residences? We recognize that it's not the same as having a lot that has no development on it, save for 2 billboards and a bus stop. There's going to be a new building there. It is going to change the feel of that area. That's every development site that we look at, we run into the exact same thing. And all I can say is that we do spend a lot of effort and a lot of late hours, and our professionals spend a lot of time negotiating with the landowners and looking into these to figure out how we manage to fit the unit counts that we need to avoid builders' remedy lawsuits, and also recognizing that we try and protect our neighborhoods as best as we can. So I can say, I know the neighbors are going to be dissatisfied with us approving this project here if that's the way this vote goes. I just know that's the reality. If I were in your position, I would have the same concerns. It's our obligation up here to look at the township as a whole, and again, to protect us from the worst case scenario, which are builders' remedy lawsuits, and does end up with a lot more development than you can through all these negotiated settlements. So that's all I can tell you is that we look at this, we recognize the impact for anyone that lives around it. I understand that this is going to be a change to the feel of your property and your neighborhood, and I wish there was a perfect solution here. This is the nature of compromise. I appreciate all the work of our professionals who continue to work on this, and then as we go through the individual site plan review and getting this through to approval, more work goes on there. So I do, in the interest of protecting the township as a whole, I am compelled to support this. So just recognize that's where I'm coming from on this, is looking at the larger picture, but I do recognize the concerns of the individual neighborhood as a whole, or the individual neighborhood.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start off, Ms. Grouet, I agree. There's just a ton of paperwork in this, and it seems like we go through so many documents, and as Councilwoman McGrath said, it gets confusing because you go from one project to the next, and even being on the planning board, we're jumping from one to the next. It's been like this since 2015 or 16. It was when I got on the council on 17, I was called into a closed session before I was even sworn in to start dealing with this. And unfortunately, it just keeps continuing. And it's really, when it comes to the council, our hands are tied. And it's the state of New Jersey that's doing it to us. And they don't care about the schools. They don't care about the infrastructure. They don't care about the rescue squad. We had one project we just approved that was going to have 120 or 130 assisted living facility rooms in it, or beds rather, and that would have just ruined the rescue squad. So thank God that got put aside and negotiated down to a smaller property, a smaller build. This property, along with another one of the four that were interveners, is larger but has the same amount of units as another property that I had to recuse myself from because it's within 150 feet of my house. It's actually 100 foot from my house. So these are very, very difficult decisions that we have to make up here. I would throw a question at our council sitting in the back. What happens if this gets turned down? Do we want to risk this developer suing us and coming back and getting 80 units put on the property? That is realistically what could happen. We could look at a lot of the other towns in the state of New Jersey. I can't remember the number of them that went against their affordable plan and took it all the way to the Supreme Court. And 2 weeks ago, that just got shot down. I wonder what's going to happen to those towns and what the outcome of those interveners in those towns are going to end up with on their properties. It's going to be interesting to follow and interesting to see. Like I said, these are difficult. I look at Roseland, Becker Farm Road and Harrison Avenue. They're putting over 1,000 units in that area. It's crazy. And like I said, again, I'll repeat it. Our hands are really tied on some of these projects. I really think our experts did a great job getting this number down. If people stick around during my council report, I will give an update on what's going on in West Orange, where they want to put 496 units right on Verona's border. Collectively, I think we're doing 30% of that in Verona, and that's just one development in that town. So again, all of our experts have put a ton of time into this. Our board members, our council members. I don't want to vote yes on this, but I really have to because I don't want to see 45, 50, 60, 80 units going on this property. And that's what people can do. I mean, we approved in the last round the plan at Sunset that's putting 200 units on the 5 acres there. It's really an 8-acre property, but through those proceedings, we kept hearing the threat. The plan B, which was 300 units. If we shoot it down and they go to fair share housing and they become an intervene, they were an intervener, but if they go the distance, they're going to put 300 on that property. So that was another one that we had to battle. So these are difficult decisions, but unfortunately, I don't want to see a vacant piece of property that I used to ride my bike through when I was little, because I used to go right under Bloomfield Avenue and right down into Caldwell, right down that track. But unfortunately, this is something that we really have to approve and sadly have to see it get developed.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I will finish the discussion by
Mayor. I know you like the last words. I just wanted to say, as part of the discussion, as council indicated, this was referred to the planning board. They found that there were no provisions that were not inconsistent with the master plan, but they did recommend 7 changes. If the council just wants to discuss those 7 changes so the record's clear, that would be great.
Does anybody object to any of those changes? Obviously, Deputy Mayor wanted to change one of the recommendations that he had made at the planning board from 17 MRV to MRV 13. Anybody have any objection to that or any other recommendations?
No objections. I mean, do we?
You're gonna have to
want to run
amend.
through them?
You have to amend your motion to include the changing the MRV 17 to 13. If you just want to do that now, and then I can.
Okay.
And then just state for the record the reason why.
Okay. I would like to amend my motion for this ordinance to adopt the recommendations of the planning board, with the exception of the change from the language of require filters of grade MRV 17 or greater to require filters of grade MRV 13 or greater for constructability reasons, and that no residential HVAC equipment can support MRV 17 air filtration.
Thank you. I will second that motion. just discussion purposes, I can echo my colleagues on the council is that honestly, I wouldn't want to build any of these new buildings if I could avoid it. And I think that's the big piece down there. The state of New Jersey has the legislature and the courts have put local municipalities in the position where we are the losers in this process, 100%. And that is, it's a process that we were not involved in. It's a process that we were largely not consulted on. And it's a process that has changed almost every round. There has been new requirements or something along those lines. It's disastrous to the municipalities, but at the same point, because it's a constitutional obligation, it is upheld. That is, a judicial made precedent that created that. But I would say our last year's legislature, when they attempted to fix affordable housing, didn't really fix it in any way. And I think that has drastically affected us. I will say I don't have the luxury of voting no on this particular ordinance because knowing that two of my council colleagues are planning to do that, I can't in order to protect the township from builder's remedy lawsuits that could not only affect this property, but potentially others, and creating an environment where we have a lot more units with a more significant impact right now. We've had discussions about traffic, and we've had discussions about density, and that can only get worse. And we, the developer settled in this case at a number through negotiations, right? And the way negotiations work are you have to determine what your liability is and decide if I agree to something now, is it better off than the alternative, right? Which would be litigation. So if any of the three of us in the middle here were to vote no on this, the township would be immediately put in a position of litigation for not meeting its constitutional affordable housing requirements, which could mean that builder's remedy lawsuit. And what does that mean? Well, the developer in this case originally proposed somewhere around 60 units on that property. And that would not be townhouses, right? That would become apartment buildings, and which would be an even worse situation along Bloomfield Avenue. Getting this down to 28 was a pretty significant feat. The 28 townhouses that will be there will be effectively continuing an aesthetic that exists already in Essex Fells, which is townhouses. So this really has the minimal impact. And these are also for sale units. We have had a lot of our affordable housing units coming in have been rentals. And now we are looking at for sale units, which is certainly better for the township in the long run, as far as being able to maintain long-term residents. And that generally, when you have for sale units, it generally means properties are better maintained because of that resident control that exists there. So frankly, don't think that we can risk litigation on this matter because of the horrible alternative that really comes up. What I will say is that the planning board already gave some excellent recommendations, and I know that there will be an extensive review of this property when it comes before the planning board. And so I say to all the residents in that area, understand that there are elements of this redevelopment plan that still require that the area is consistent with our things like our tree ordinance and our steep slope ordinance and so on. And that's significant. That's important to note. And I know that there will be an extensive review, and I know that I will be at that table during that review. And I know that I will be questioning all of those decisions in order to make sure that this is the best possible development for our town during this time. And I'd like to just point out that I previously mentioned on the 420 Bluefoot Avenue property that originally I was opposed to the size of this building and the number of units, but sitting and hearing what our professionals have done, providing negotiation strategy, getting that number down, and getting a better alternative than what was originally proposed, led me to vote in that favor. And I am sorry that my colleagues voting no on this do not see the same thing for this property. And I'm glad that once we approve this, we'll be able to hopefully wrap up our affordable housing piece here, but while making sure that the character of our town remains and that we have design standards and that the development will have minimal impact. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
No.
Councilwoman McGrath,
No.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor, ordinance passes 3-0. Will be published according to law with
3-2.
the appropriate changes incorporated.
Yeah, 3-2, Madam Clerk.
What did I just say?
3-0.
Sorry, I meant 3-2.
You're all right.
It will be published according to law.
The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2026-07 on second reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending and supplementing the standards of the Town Center Mixed Use Zone District in Chapter 150 zoning of the Code of the Township of Verona.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance, please?
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Holland. This time I'll open for public comment on the TCMU zone ordinance. The same public comment statement applies. Hearing none, I close public comment. Any council discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor, 2026-07 passes 5-0 and will be published according to law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is ordinance 2026-08 on second reading. Would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Repealing Article 19 and 21 of Chapter 150 of the Code of the Township in its entirety and replacing with a new Article 19, Affordable Housing, and an Article 21, Development Fees.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move this ordinance, please?
So moved.
Motion is made by the Deputy Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman McGrath. This time we'll open for public comment on ordinance 2026-08. Same public comment statement applies. Seeing no public comment, I hereby close public comment. Any council discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor, 2026-08 it passes 5-0 and will be published according to law.
This time I'll hear a motion to take ordinance 2026-04 off the table.
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilman Roman. The ordinance is off the table. It has previously been moved and seconded. We had public comment. This point, Councilman Roman.
I believe we've been handed a new copy of it, but I'm still looking for where the
Page 7.
page 7. Okay. I mean, I can only read so much while keeping up with the discussion.
F7.
Page
It's under drive-through facilities. It's under prohibited uses.
prohibited uses. The following uses are expressly prohibited in the TC zone district.
Number 7.
Event venues, banquet halls, party halls, or similar houses of worship, nightclubs. This still, this copy of it still doesn't lift. Number 7 here is any use requiring regular reliance on municipal or public parking lots to meet minimum parking requirements.
I don't know what copy you got because this is the copy that Jen.
Yeah.
It should
After
have
the
that,
9.
'cause whatever email I sent you is what I have. It shows 7 poster virtual kitchens.
Okay, so that one has one more point.
That one has one
paper
more
copy.
point than what we have in front of us.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just ask Mr. Aloya how we ensure that our legislative intent here is correct.
Sure. So Sam, if you just want to read that out loud so we have the right language for the record so everyone knows what they're voting on.
Certainly, yes. So under subsection F, prohibited use, number 1 is event venues, banquet halls, etc. Second is house of worship, etc., etc. Third is nightclubs, dance hall. And then as we go down to 6, it's drive-through facilities. 7 is ghost or virtual kitchens.
Okay. And then what we have is number 7 in our printed packet here is number 8 on.
That is correct.
Okay.
It's any use requiring regular reliance on municipal or public parking lots to meet minimum parking requirements.
So the ordinance in front of you, council, 7 is ghost kitchens, and your 7 that's in front of you comes to 8.
So for the purposes of clarification, our intent is to prohibit ghost kitchens as a use in the zone.
That's correct. And it does so based upon the ordinance as you tried to amend it previously. You're just given the wrong copy.
Yeah. Thank you.
And also note that anything that's not specifically listed as a permitted use is prohibited anyway.
Right.
So
I was just concerned about the definition of shared kitchen could permit it, so we have to expressly prohibit it. So
I just would like to make one other. There was an amendment at the planning board on this as well, where on our original version, it talked about medical offices not being permitted in this area. And I brought up to the planning board on further review that some medical offices like optometrists and chiropractors tend to, their business model is to have these physical therapy, have these center of town items. So that was adjusted to provide exceptions for those specific offices. That is in the definition of medical office on page 2 going into 3. So examples of medical office shall include but not be limited to. No, it's in somewhere. Hold on,
right, that's the challenge. Is once it's in a definition, you still have to reference it somewhere else, so it's either permitted or prohibited.
You probably have the wrong version because that edit was made in the newer version.
Okay. No, yeah, I have it. It's on the electronic version. It's on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. It says example.
Now I do.
There was a the exception was put in here. Any other council discussion? See none, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo?
Yes.
Mayor, ordinance passes 5-0, and I just forwarded San's email directly to you with the correct version.
Thank you.
Apologize.
All right. At this time, we're going to address that was all the ordinances related to affordable housing. There are a couple other zoning ordinances don't relate to affordable housing there. At this time, Brian, can I, just as a matter of procedure, can I put 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 11 into like a mini consent agenda and move them all at once?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. All right. I have a motion to approve
No.
resolutions L1, 2, 3, 4, and 11.
I think 4.
Oh, that's not this affordable housing. That is affordable housing, but it's not this affordable housing. 1, 2, 3, and 11. Councilman McGrath?
Thank you. I would, personally, I would prefer to vote on them separately. Thank you.
Anybody else have that desire?
I do.
Okay. All right. We could just do that then. All right. I'll hear a motion on resolution L1.
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Second is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Any discussion on? Sorry, I'm going to call for public comment on resolutions L1, 2, 3, and 11 as a group at this time. Same public comment statement applies. Okay. Close public comment. Any council discussion on L1? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor L1 will be numbered 2026-058.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is Resolution L2. I'll hear a motion on this resolution.
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second? By Councilwoman McGrath. Any council discussion?
I have a question.
Deputy Mayor?
Yes, to our experts. In this resolution, we list 4 counties that we have to notice. Is there a minimum of how many counties? Because I look Essex, Morris, Union, okay, Warren County. Like, is someone from Blairstown gonna move to Verona?
Those are all the counties that are in Verona's affordable housing region.
Got it. So it's a whole group.
Yeah, it's a cluster.
Thank you.
You beat Mr. Polacek to it. He was ready. He was ready to jump in back there. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor L2 will be numbered 2026-059.
Thank you. Would somebody like to move L3?
So moved.
Motion's made by the Deputy Mayor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconds by Councilman Roman. Any council discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
Abstain.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Abstain.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor L3 will be numbered 2026-060. Passes 3-0 with 2 abstentions.
Thank you. Would somebody move Resolution L11? I'll move it. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconds by Councilman Roman.
Who moved it? I'm sorry.
I did.
Thank you.
Any council discussion on L11? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
Abstain.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy. Councilman Roman.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor L11 be numbered 061. Passes 3-0 with 2 abstentions.
Thank you. Okay. All of our affordable housing friends, you are dismissed. Thank you for your service. And now we're going back to the Township Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Back over on page 1.
We're back to our CFO for continuation of the budget discussions.
Jen, I just want to give you this. Would you just say them so the people at home?
Okay, got it. Okay, good evening. We are going to start, I'm going to make it fast. We are going to start with tab 16, construction code. Tommy Jake, you're up.
Mr. Jacobson, your last budget hearing.
Okay, that's page 27 in the binder for those at home.
Yes.
As a send off, I got all my questions ready.
Did you want to go home tonight?
I was just going to say, any questions?
Go ahead, I'll let you go.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of the council. I realize we have a jam-packed agenda tonight, so I will go over quick highlights and then discuss our budget. Code enforcement is divided into 2 categories: construction code, which consists of building, electric, plumbing, mechanical, fire, technical assistance, and property maintenance. In 2025, my office issued 870 permits compared to 833 permits in 2024, an increase of 37 permits. The building department is off to another robust year, and 2026 looks to exceed 2025. Total department revenue for 2025 was $311,958 compared to 2024, which was $301,000, an increase of $10,958. The building department conducted 2,907 inspections for 2025 compared to 2,845 for 2024. That's an increase in 62 inspections. Some quick highlights, as our town manager had mentioned a few things already. The Everfield project is well underway with both construction and inspections taking place to move the project along. We have continued to advance green technology in the building department in support of Sustainable Verona Committee. To date, we have 139 properties with solar panels and 169 car charging outlets in town. Digital file storage has continued to be handled by the Flobionics Company. Thank you, Ms. Kiernan, for spearheading this project. And thank you to the administration for installing security cameras and combination keypad locks on the office doors of the community center offices to increase security. Construction of the new pump station is underway at Claridge Drive. We have updated the building department webpage and made it more user-friendly for residents, thanks to my technical assistants, Kristen Spatola, Renee Reynolds, and Public Information Director, Elisa Northrop. And Roseland Shared Services contract has been in effect for 15 years. And it looks like Roseland is going to renew the contract another 4 years, and I believe it is on the agenda tonight. Correct. Future projects that are coming down the pike, as you mentioned, there's so many coming down in the next year or two. But pretty much immediately, PFAS, the well station on Fairview Avenue, we're expecting some permits to come in very soon on that. The Spectrum 360 project with 200 units on Sunset Avenue will be submitting construction permits in the near future. And every few years, I'll review our fee schedule and compare it to neighboring towns with a sampling of 10 similar towns. I try to keep Verona in the middle of the pack and create a spreadsheet that I will submit to the township manager for review. So the line-by-line items, if you notice, our budget is modest. It's $12,675 for our operating. It's very modest, and I will take any questions as far as that's concerned.
Any questions for Mr. Jacobson?
Before I go on.
Well, we're letting you off easy this time, Tom. No questions.
I'll just make a
Councilman Romo?
just a brief comment that it's, I'm glad you mentioned it. One of the things people may not realize about your department is the role you play in all of the public works and civil construction that is done by not just the Township of Verona, but I gather the county as well, and any other agencies that are building within our borders. You have a role at plan check and inspection all the way through those projects. So I know that's quite a bit of work in addition to all of the multifamily. And how many units going up in Roseland?
About 1,000 going up now. It's crazy, and more to come. And like Deputy Mayor said, it's Becker Farm is just all the big buildings are being demolished and new units going up. About 1,000 units in the next 2 years. So,
and it's important to note that you are a revenue generating, department. Not enough to cover every expense, but enough to cover close to a majority of them. So we appreciate that as well.
Right.
All right, you're off the hook, Tom. Thank you.
If I may,
Sure.
Mayor, could I invite Len Mandola up here?
Sure, absolutely.
As you almost know by now, I am retiring effective April 1 of this year. And Len Mandola, I would like to introduce Len Mandola, who will be succeeding me upon my retirement, April 1, 2026. Len has a vast amount of knowledge and experience, having served as construction official, building subcode official, zoning official in Summit, Maplewood, South Orange, Cedar Grove, North Cornwall, and Montclair. Len is already working for the Township of Verona as my building subcode, and I'm confident this will be a smooth transition for the Township of Verona because I promised our manager that this would be a smooth transition, and that I'm confident that Lenny will do an excellent job for the Township of Verona. Would you like to say a couple quick words?
Just Mandola, welcome.
Just 2 words.
Wait, how many units are going up? Good evening, Mayor, members of the Township Council, Township Manager, Deputy Manager, peers. Thank you. I'm short. And the public. I'm honored to be joining Verona Township as a new construction official. I know I have large shoes to fill. Mr. Jacobson has been a Verona Township employee for almost 50 years. Rumor has it they're going to name a street after him. I'm not sure that is. I bring 20 plus years of experience working construction, building departments, and I'm looking forward to working with the township team and serving our residents. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to working here, and I feel at home. I grew up in this area for a long time. I've been in this area for a very long time, so I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, and we'll see you in 50 years.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Councilman.
Yeah, I would just like to.
And a final wrap up, Mayor, if you don't mind. It has been an honor and a privilege to work in my hometown of Verona for almost 50 years, and I want to thank you for the support and encouragement that this mayor and council has shown the building department and myself. And these are my words, not AI. So, thank you very much for everything.
Hold on before you go, Councilman.
I just wanted to say just a personal thank you. So I've been sitting up here for 10 years. I think you were the first department head that I sat down and met with after I was selected to this council. And you gave a very comprehensive and very detailed rundown of all of your operations. And I learned a lot from you. And one of the things that's always struck me every time that you've come up here is your commitment to public service. You've always described your role as protecting the public, protecting their assets in their homes, helping them out when they have issues with contractors, making sure that they're well taken care of. That's really just defined your time with the Township of Verona as true just public service. So I just want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you all these years and for everything you've done for our community.
Thank you for the kind words.
Hopefully see you before you're out of here entirely, but just wanted to say that on the record. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Tom. All right, what's next? We're not going to be as nice to the next person.
No. Oh, who should I pick then? No, I'm just kidding.
Fire department.
Next is tab 17, fire prevention, page 35.
Thank you.
For everyone at home. You want to talk or you want me to talk? Okay. Salaries. Salaries have been consistently $90,000 for the last few years. This year, there was a request for an additional $10,000 for an increase in pay for our part-timers. The operating expenses remain the same on the bottom line at $8,000.
The only reason for the request for the 10,000 was the last time I met with Jen back in 2023 to request an increase. The total possible amount for the year was very close to our maximum. We obviously only came up to 80,000, so there's still $10,000 left. I just didn't want to, if requested an increase and given permission by the administration, I didn't want it to be too close to where it'd be a concern.
Before you leave, you also have capital, which is on this page. On the next sheet is Matt's capital requests.
For capital requests this year, again, just radios. That is for one mobile radio for a vehicle and one portable radio for one of my staff. And then the fire prevention in-vehicle computers, that's just for one. It's a Panasonic Toughbook with a vehicle-specific mount. They are it's what the same computers the police department use. They're very rugged, and they're recommended for fire prevention line of work.
Matt, do you think if you get this, it would require fewer hours from the fire prevention?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. The additional to the computers, we also plan to get a printer, which would save time running back and forth to the office to print things out. We would be able to print certificates, violations, email them directly from the computer in the vehicle. So definitely save time from running back and forth to the office.
So you would anticipate a reduction in the hourly what we're paying.
Yeah, absolutely. Or more productivity. We are required by law or by the fire code to inspect all of our life hazard uses. The non-life hazard uses are on a 5-year cycle. We'd obviously like to get to all of them every 5 years. It's just not possible with the current staff that we have, but it would definitely make us more efficient.
Any other questions for Mr. Gifford? Thanks, Matt. You're all set for now.
Thank you.
See you in a minute.
Of course. We are going to jump back up to tab 11, which is communications. Tony, you want to come up? Ms. Kiernan, communications was not on your.
I didn't see it on the.
That's okay.
I was
if
going
you
by the
can-
agenda. I'll find it right now.
Okay. Do you want me to talk? Or do you want to
Mr. Fan, welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody who doesn't know Tony, Tony's our new IT director. Just started when? 2 months ago?
2 months ago.
2 months ago. Okay. So your salary and wages are on top. Tony's salary as well as a part-timer salary is in that budget. On the bottom is their operating expenses. You may or may not be aware that there was an additional staff member that had resigned late 2025. So the increase on the bottom is if in case Tony needs another professional to come in, that would be the offset to that.
That's the consulting line.
That's the consulting line, yes. Do you want to add anything?
Yes,
And you also
page
have capital.
29. Sorry, at home. It's IT.
Okay. Do you want to add anything?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm currently working with the Township Manager and the CFO looking through the township infrastructure, and then go to improving the township technology in the system networking, bringing it up to the state, as well as the cybersecurity.
Thank you.
If I may.
Councilman Roman?
As far as the capital, are these the ones that fall under, these are all under administration?
They are all under administration. Capitals kind of came in earlier than when Tony was hired, so that was handled more by administration.
Okay. Can we at least go through the 2026 IT capital items?
Sure.
I see only 2 of them marked on there. You've just got
Yeah.
server replacement and backup system upgrades, totaling $38,000. Just what are you looking to do?
These two are yours.
Is there a specific project plan for those, or?
Yeah, so currently we go to improve the backup solutions for the Verona. Currently, we are still using tape backup. We are planning to go to the digital backup to the cloud, on premise and to the cloud. And then so currently I'm working with a couple manufacturer technology to pick the right one for the township of Verona. And also our current system right now is the hardware is getting outdated. So right now I am also trying to bring a virtual environment into the Verona and to help some reduce the hardware costs and have build up the virtual machine within probably 3 to 4 server, and then build up to probably can bring up a dozen of virtual server that we can separate their functions.
Okay. Are you going to be able, under $30,000, you're going to be able to buy 4 servers and a hypervisor?
So for the virtual environment, we definitely go move away. Not going to choose VMware because VMware lately their pricing is increases tremendously. But I do have a meeting with them sometime next week to go over, see what the option is. Right. We would definitely go with the Hyper-V with Microsoft at this time. And then so right now I'm working out with a couple of vendors, and then Dell, HP, Lenovo, see what their pricing is. And also I'm working with the township manager and to see some of the budget. Maybe we can move some of the budget around to help funding some of these projects.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. The virtual environment will certainly save on the fact that we brought that issue up before, where we're buying like every computer at once on the same cycle. This would reduce that.
Well, this is more for the server environment rather than the workstations. Though it was the workstations where we were trying to replace an entire year. We were replacing every workstation in the entire town all at once.
Yeah. Well, we could get to a point where you can use virtual workstations, right?
It depends. Whether that's more efficient or not depends on what you're doing. But
we can dream.
Yeah, we'll have sidebar at some point. But
all right. Thank you, Mr. Fan.
Thank you.
Tab 12, volunteer fire department. Nick. For everyone at home, that's page 34. Come on over.
Good evening.
For this budget, the operating expense is remaining the same, but they'll go into their capital requests.
Good evening again. With the capital request, so Fire Department Administration sat down last year together. We mapped out a 5-year plan for the Fire Department for capital needs. It was something I asked of the upcoming officers in our department that we continuously do this to keep ourselves abreast. We met with the town manager, we met with the deputy manager to go over our plans moving forward into 2030. So I'm going to leave the big ticket for last. I'm going to start with the smaller ones. Apparatus repairs. So I kind of took a page from Mr. O'Sullivan, who last year put together a facilities audit study. We did the same thing for our vehicle apparatus. Vehicle apparatus is extremely expensive. Costs are only going up every single day. That something has to get repaired, whether it's parts, labor, the costs just continuously rise. So we met with our vendors that do our vehicle repairs. We had them analyze every vehicle in our fleet, and they came back to us with a list that was massive. So we had them take it down to a critical list of things that do have to be addressed and things that do have to be repaired. So we have right now $60,000 outstanding worth of repairs to our current apparatus. So we want to take it in a tier approach. Obviously, we're not going to try to tackle everything in 1 year, but $30,000 this year for apparatus repairs will put a big dent into that. we'll get a couple of our rigs fully completed. And then every year, hopefully, we can gradually decrease that number as we move forward and get these things addressed. Next is turnout gear. It's pretty standard request from the fire department. $25,000 gets you 5 sets of turnout gear. Right now, we're turning over double that rate, so we're putting on 10 new members a year. The service gear has a 10-year lifespan. One of the things we've always done to lengthen the life of the gear is to give it to newer members coming on, junior members that can't yet go into fires or be put into dangerous situations. But what we're seeing just as recently as last week, members are getting rejected from the academies and told that the gear is non-compliant. So we're running into a little of a hard place right now, getting some newer gear or getting some better gear for these younger members to get through the academies. So just a continued investment in the numbers we're putting on. We have to outfit them. We have to get them stuff that's compliant with the state and with fire regulation. So $25,000 will get us 5 sets of turnout gear. Computer software, $5,000. So the council did approve 2 years ago the purchase of computer software equipment. This is the first computer software equipment in the history of the Verona Fire Department. So we're literally going from Excel and paper and pencil to now we have a fully operating computer system called Red NMX. We went soft live in December. We went full live in January. The software is working great. The $5,000 will just allow us to continue to invest in it. There's different modules that we could progress to. Currently, one of the things we bought with our most recent funds was hydrant mapping. So this software will now pinpoint all the hydrants in Verona. There's a ton of data we can work with the zoning and the permitting offices for solar panels and areas of concern. As we get into some of these construction development sites in Verona, we can preload information that those offices get, things that we need to be aware of responding to emergencies. So again, that $5,000 will just help grow that database. $5,000 firefighting equipment. That's just our basic tools and equipment, cameras, some stuff we carry on the apparatus that needs to be replaced from time to time. We used to be able to cover a lot of that stuff out of operating budget, but things are just going up. We're seeing increases of 10% a year. I just got a quote this morning for something that had a drastic increase from the year before. So we're working hard to go out to new vendors and get quotes for things, but we're just finding it, it's a market thing. Everyone's raising their prices the same rates, and we're just fighting we're getting less out of our operating budget than years before. So hopefully with some capital investments, we can keep pace. The last item here on the smaller ticket items is radio equipment. So the township had a meeting, I believe it was in July or August, with our emergency services, with DPW, with buildings and grounds, to go over the current radio system that we have in town right now, which is functioning well for all our departments, just a continued investment in it. And one of the things that was talked about was radio replacements. So the radio system that we have now, the radio hardware that we have now, is in its 10th year of operation. On the fire department side, none of those radios have been replaced yet. So, we put in for 50,000 and we said subject to what the township plan is. We don't have a township plan yet for how we're going to approach that. So if we asked for 20,000 of that, that would allow us to buy 2 radios similar to the ones that Matt and I have. We are the only 2 members of the fire department that have those all band radios. So this would allow for us to matriculate some of those down through the ranks of the officers and then eventually into the membership, and then just continued investment with batteries and pagers and the things that seem to wear pretty regularly and that need to be replaced and upgraded to keep the system functioning. All right. Any questions on those?
Yeah. I was wondering if you could get to us as we consider these items for the firefighting equipment, specifically what you're looking for that $20,000. It would be helpful. I'm a little wary when we're borrowing money to pay for things to just to approve a blanket number for just equipment, because right now it seems like we're treating capital a little bit as an extension of the operating budget. Don't want to be doing. So I'd like to know exactly what equipment that.
Yep. So for this year, we're asking for $5,000 for firefighting equipment, and 2 of the main focuses there are going to be.
So your capital says $20,000.
Yeah, the spreadsheet in front of us has
5,000 for software, 20,000 for firefighting.
Okay. Yeah, it's 5,000 a year, so that 20,000 is cumulative. So we're not asking for 20,000
Okay.
this year for
Okay,
firefighting.
right. In what we have in front of us is asking for
Okay.
20,000 a year. Okay. So what are your two pieces of equipment you're looking at?
Thermal imaging cameras. So we have 4 in the department. 2 were replaced in the last 2 years. We'd like to replace the other 2. The 2 that needed replacement are over 10 years old. Those thermal imaging cameras allow us to look at walls, to look at ceilings, to look through structure. So that allows us having to cause some damage where it might not be necessary. And $5,000 would handle 2 replacement cameras for us.
And it has, for your radio purchase, $200,000.
Yes. So that was, again, subject to the town plan of replacing.
But
so,
if you said you had wanted to, add a couple radios to the department, deal with some pagers and batteries, so that's just normal maintenance. What do you think that would cost?
So what we were asking for 2026 was $20,000, which would get us 2 radios, 10 pagers, and about 10 batteries.
Okay. Those numbers are just a little different than what we
Okay.
have in front of us.
Yeah.
And we'll just note that I think Chief Kiernan will, when the radio new plan comes into play, Chief Kiernan and Mr. O'Sullivan would be presenting a budget that would encompass the needs of all departments at that point, right? So just don't want to think that, I don't want you guys to think that you're kind of on your own for planning ahead for that. That would be part of that plan as it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. However long
10 years ago when we moved from the EDEX.
Well, the plan started a couple of years prior to that, right?
No, we were going to put in our own P25 phase 2 until
we saw the light. Yeah. I was there. I remember.
Yeah.
You and I were at the same meetings back in the olden days. Okay. So, but just want to note that the chief would provide us with a whole budget on that.
Yep.
But for right now, you've gone from asking for, in our spreadsheet, $220,000 for those 2 items to $25,000, which is a very positive change.
Yep. Let me just check what's on the sheet here.
Yeah, it looks
Real
like.
quick, can you double check the first 2? Because your apparatus repair, you said 30. We have 25.
Yeah. So we have 30,000 in our 2026 sheet here. This has 25,000. Turnout gear says 20,000. We have 25,000 for turnout gear. Computer software is 5. That's correct. Firefighting equipment should be 5,000. And then the radio equipment, again, subject to the town plan, we're asking for 20,000 for this year to make those upgrades and purchases that I just spoke about.
Can we get a reissued capital spreadsheet?
Yes. All right. Now on to the very red or bright green elephant in the room.
Okay, so the large ticket item is a new fire truck. Right now in the industry, Chief Tempesta or Ricky Tempesta spoke about it earlier. Fire service is looking at about 4 years right now for length to build apparatus and get it delivered. We have a 2004 engine up at station number 1. That is the next in line to be replaced in this department. A 4-year window puts us somewhere around 2030 for delivery of that. So that 2024 engine will be 6 years old at that time. We were approached in 2024 by the then Township administration of what we should be targeting for our next apparatus replacement based on the master plan and based on the development, kind of what we spoke about earlier tonight in this meeting. And we have some stats here, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. But with all the construction and development in Verona, our needs are changing, especially for emergency services. I'm not going to speak for the other chiefs of the other organizations, but certainly continued development and the type of development puts more strain on our emergency resources and what we do. So the vehicle we've spec'd out, which came in under this 1.95 budgeted number, is a Quint. So a Quint is a fire engine with a ladder on it. So it gives you dual purpose. It has a ladder, will not be the type of ladder that we have currently in station number 2, but it also serves as an engine. We're seeing more towns switch to this approach of having dual ladders, Caldwell being the most recent last year. Caldwell took possession last year of a new ladder truck, and they're keeping their old existing ladder truck in service. The most recent as the fire we had 2 years ago on Bloomfield Avenue that affected a couple businesses. We called another town in for mutual aid to help us assist with that, as 2 ladders were needed as we were possibly performing rescues out of 2 different buildings. It's just becoming more of a need with the development going on, the change in elevation to some of these buildings, the tightness maneuvering around these buildings. So this new vehicle is being designed to have a better reach and a better turning radius into some of these developments. Obviously, the code officials all have the turning radiuses for our ladder truck when these developers come in, and they all build to those specifications. But those specifications don't include snow mounds. They don't include where dumpsters may end up. They don't include where delivery vehicles or illegally parked vehicles happen on these properties. And we're seeing it all the time. We went out 2 weeks ago for a drill to one of our newer developments in town, and we could not get fire apparatus around the development. It's just too tough. There's vehicles everywhere. There were snow mounds everywhere. So we need some alternatives to help us with how we approach these new buildings and its construction. So we feel that a Quint is most suited for what we need right now in this township.
Is the browning out of one of the ladder trucks in Montclair going to affect our ability to receive mutual aid, or do we have another? Because they often come and provide us a ladder. Will they send us their remaining ladder if we need it?
So it depends on what their service capabilities are for that day. If Montclair was not an option for us, we would still receive mutual aid from another township. It just may not be a bordering township. That mutual aid could be 10 more minutes, 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes further than Montclair is from us. So it does impact Verona. What's going on in Montclair is they're a neighboring town. Montclair is our first due ladder truck for mutual aid. So if we have a significant fire in this town, we call for 2 engines and 1 ladder truck to come to the scene of the fire to assist us. Currently, Montclair is that ladder truck. So if they're unable to provide, we have to go further than distance limits than Montclair to get that.
Are you going to consider changing your first due?
What do you mean?
With changing who the first due ladder is, and as a result of
No,
this?
because they're coming out of different stations.
Okay.
So the needs will be different.
Any other questions for the fire department?
So would this Quint, sorry,
Councilman Roman?
would the Quint replace an engine?
Yes.
Okay. Then what happened? What's the remaining lifespan of the ladder, and would there be an intent to replace the ladder truck?
So the ladder is, what's the age on the ladder? 15 years. So, 10 years from now, we could be talking about that replacement as well. One of the things we have to be cognizant of with these long lead times is that we don't want to bottleneck apparatus replacement. We don't want to be doing it every 2 years because, that's a huge capital investment. So we want to be able to get in front of it instead of behind it so that we don't bunch 2 replacements in a 5-year window and really put the town in a bad position.
Will the Quint fit in one of the bays at
Yes.
Station 1?
Okay. It was designed to fit in that firehouse. So yep, it's conceptualized. We met with the manufacturer. It's I don't want to say it's a base model, but it really doesn't have a lot of add-ons to it. The biggest thing was just finding a manufacturer that could build the rig that could fit in our building.
Pumping capacity and tank capacity versus the engines?
Same, 2,000 gallon per minute pump and 500 gallon water tank.
Okay.
It's basically the same wheelbase as one of our current engines. It just has a ladder on top.
Okay.
Councilwoman McGrath?
I'll defer
Go ahead.
to the deputy mayor.
I saw your hand first.
Truck. When did we capitalize for it, and when was it delivered?
We took receipt of it in 2020. It was a
Nice.
3-year lead time at the time. So I would estimate 2017 is when we put in for that, and the town went out to
Right,
bid.
and then we got it during COVID.
Yes.
Okay, so that was the last one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Deputy Mayor?
So just a question, do we ever put out for mutual aid from West Orange?
Yes.
Because we have that.
West Orange is a
one
part
house
of that
right
when we
opposite
talk about that that working fire dispatch.
Yes.
West Orange is part of that first alert. And West Orange is currently providing an engine to us as based on the logistics of their fire stations. They have a station with an engine that's closest to Verona.
Got it. And you mentioned like turning radius in developments and stuff. Do you have a group, like a committee that looks over development plans that, because I know obviously seeing plans, being on the planning board, they do show the turning radiuses. It's always something that's asked for. But do you have a committee that reviews that?
So Matt and I now are reviewing it. So Matt, obviously wearing 2 hats as the fire official, has been copied in on these zoning plans as they come out for review by the township officials. And he's recommended to the administration that the fire chief, whoever that may be at the time, right now it's me, be added to those emails. So As of the last 3 or 4 months, I'm now receiving that. So when those plans come out from the township, I'm able to review them. We can look against what we have. We can look for other things as well for sprinkler locations. We can ask for, if it's parking garage, that the parking garage be sprinklered. Things that aren't necessarily code, but we can ask that the builders put those in, and we can review how it fits the needs of our departments with being able egress, getting into those complexes, getting out of those complexes, being able to turn around inside them. So yes,
You
that is
guys
being
would be the
reviewed now.
ones we would want to hear from.
Yeah.
I do send we have a CAD drawing of the largest ladder truck, and I usually send it to DD.
And that's been, I would say, since probably the last 10 years, the fire official has been doing that with these development sites. He's been setting the turning radius, the size of the ladder truck, which is, again, the biggest apparatus. So that's incorporated into the plans.
Thanks. Any other questions, Councilman Roman?
And just a general comment on fire apparatus. We used to buy engines for I think $550,000, and when we had talked about a replacement on the ladder truck, I think we had talked in the realm of 1.1 to 1.2 million. All the fire apparatus manufacturers in the country have basically been consolidated down into 2 ownership groups, I think. And this has become sort of a national crisis at this point in time, that every single department nationwide is seeing these lead times and paying these prices.
And there's lawsuits out all over the place because of that.
Right.
And again, it's, we are part of different associations within the county. So I know Fairfield is taking delivery this year. North Caldwell is taking delivery this year of apparatus. And those are things that were ordered 4 or 5 years ago. And the lead times are just out of control.
Right. So this is not surprising, but it is a shockingly large number. But this is kind of where we are.
Yeah. And again, we'll submit to administration. There are payment options that the manufacturer is offering that can greatly reduce that price down as much as $275,000 based on what the town's able to do payment wise. So there's options.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for the fire department? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Who's next?
We're moving into police, tab 13 and 14.
Chief Kiernan, you wore your budget shirt today.
You want to go over salaries? You want me to start?
You start.
Okay. For the chief's salaries, you had 3 retirements last year.
Correct.
And we hired 4 last year, which is why
6 total.
6 total.
4 in the academy right now.
Okay. Which is why you see a slight reduction in salaries in regular salaries. On the next page is the chief's operating expenses, where you will see an increase. The trailers are new at number 22. I'm sorry for everybody at home. Sorry, this is new for me. Page 31 for everybody at home. The trailers are new this year, or last year, which was budgeted for number 22. So that is part of the increase. Also, part of the increase is cleaning service, which is under number 3 in your list. Do you want to go over any other ones specifically, or does anybody have questions specifically on the operating expenses?
Yeah, I just have the question on the overtime piece.
Overtime. Let's go back a page. Sorry.
So we're kind of about 80,000 over budget on the overtime. I was wondering if you could just briefly detail what led to that.
Okay.
So our biggest overtime budget for hours wise was desk coverage for dispatch. That was almost double of our next highest, which was training that was required from the state. We saw an increase to overtime. We were out of the building for almost the full year. Anytime we had to process a prisoner or take statements from victims, that required 2 officers to leave town. So you saw an increase there. We had a couple high-profile incidents throughout the year that put a dent in the overtime. We had on a happy occasion, we had 9 births within the department. There was 9 children that were born. So we did have some staffing issues for that happy occasion.
Thanks to a very fertile drinking water here in the town hall. Or actually, that was up there, right? Any other questions on any of the expenses for the chief?
Here.
Deputy Mayor?
No, Councilwoman.
Sorry, Councilwoman Holland. McGrath.
Thank you.
Got through everybody.
Just on some of the line items. So I notice vehicle leases is down.
Yes.
Can you refer? Is that due to the way they're paid from the special arrangement when they're? If you could address that.
Sure. We were leasing vehicles, which made sense for us at the time. We started that in 2019. It no longer made sense about 3 years ago. The lease company, the business arrangement was not something they were looking for. We were making out a little too well. So we've been reducing that as the vehicles come off lease. What we try to do is spend the money for the current leases as well as a lot of the upfitting from the trust fund, which comes in from the vendors. So we took in $52,000 approximately last year from vehicles when a vendor. So when you see a construction company or with utilities using an officer for traffic control, there is a fee for that police vehicle. So we did bring in about $52,000 on that, and we used that to spend on leases as well as upfitting for some of the newer cars.
And then do you want to address, I see a big increase in patrol equipment repairs and service.
Yes. So basically that's just the increase on the cost of a lot of the items that we've been replacing. A lot of that is vehicle equipment, what's in the trunk, what we carry around, as well as newer equipment for officers. So with the increased officers, we, as per contractual, all uniforms and supplies are paid for by the township as we hire them. So as we're seeing the new officers come in, we are outfitting them with all the equipment that's needed to attend the academy, or if they came from another department, which we had last year.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councilman Roman?
I assume that the education and training going up as well is just a result of just having several in the academy at the moment.
Yes, and it's also an increase in required training from the state. We're huge on training, obviously, as you guys know. But there is more required training. One of the good things is Verona, and I'll pat myself on the back for my command staff to be ahead of the curve. We've had this training and we've been engaged in it. And then the Attorney General guidelines would come out, or Attorney General recommendation would come out. This is now mandatory. So we've been a bit ahead of the curve, and that's a credit to the supervisors and the officers who come back looking for this other training. There's also what we call required training, which isn't required from the state. That would be our officers carry tasers, less lethal. There's training required for them to continue to carry them. As far as EMT status, we will pay for the officers to keep their certification as EMTs. A lot of times, obviously, they're first on the scene. CPR, first responder, all these things that we have as required training. That's not necessarily required from the state, but what we have is required. So that increased those numbers. The training, it's not all, you see an increase in the overtime, but we spent 4,562 hours in training last year. 3,140 was done while the officers were working or amending their schedule.
So basically during regular time.
Correct.
Okay. So it's not drive. It drives the overtime, but it's not.
We try
all
when
overtime.
we can.
Right.
Things like the range, defensive tactics,
right,
need to be in person, and it's difficult with the Pittman schedule.
Okay. And then the new item for trailers. What is that?
That is for the locker rooms.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That trailer.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to go into your capital?
Yes. The capital is. A little fluid at this time. We're always exploring shared services with surrounding towns. There may be an opportunity to save money with a couple shared services that we're currently engaged in with Cedar Grove, but might change some equipment as far as our 911 infrastructure. I had capital for the upgrade of the 911 system in 2021, and that would have been what's called next gen ready, which the state was rolling out in 2022. So we had that capital set aside. The state never rolled it out. They moved the goal line a bit. It's going to cost us significantly more to be next gen 911 ready. And what the short version is, it's going to be text to 911 as well as FaceTime, and a few other upgrades that the state has mandated. But we're looking at ways to keep that cost down. So some of this may change. I'll be back before you to explain it in more detail. But there are some items on capital that may change on that.
The two vehicle. Oh, you showed two vehicles for 220,000.
Yes. So the two vehicles that we approved in capital last June, we took delivery of in July. They're still sitting, waiting to be upfitted. There's a unbelievable difficult time in upfitting police vehicles, which is throughout the state, no matter which vendor you try. So that would be for the vehicles and the upfitting. Again, we're still sitting, waiting on those other two. These two, we would increase the fleet by 2 cars based on now that we have more officers on the road.
You put in for a $50,000 for a gator, and another department put in for one as well. Is that something that could be shared in some way?
So the difficulty we had in sharing that piece of equipment was when the rescue squad would need it, the police would need it as well. So we were trying to work that out amongst the two agencies, and it really seemed to overlap that we would both need it at that time with different specific needs.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay.
Don't go anywhere. You're in tab 14 as well for under dispatch
dispatch.
salaries. The salaries just contractually for the OPIU members increased slightly, so that's the difference there. But I'm not sure if you need the chief for dispatchers. If you have questions on that one.
I just have one question on the dispatch piece. It seems that one of the big overtime drivers for the police department is, as you said, desk coverage. And when you're paying overtime for desk coverage, you're talking for a patrol officer, it could be somewhere, overtime could be like $100 an hour, pretty easily to pay for desk coverage. Would it make sense for us to try to offset some of that overtime cost by increasing the rate for hourly dispatchers to try and incentivize dispatchers to work for us rather than to work for other places if they're going on? I think that might be able to save some money. It seems like we're doing that. I mean, I don't know where our hourly dispatchers make, but even if we could pay them, we could probably increase their salary 200%, and still it'll cost less than having a patrol officer doing that same job at the same time. So I'm thinking if we could potentially look at the economics of having a significant increase in per diem dispatcher pay, that would probably save the town a significant amount of money over time, for sure.
It did work with our school guards. So when we have 4 full-time dispatchers that cover the shifts with the pitman. When a dispatcher has scheduled time off or is sick, we first try to get a per diem. That has the least impact fiscally. If we can't get a per diem, we then try to see if we have an officer who is desk certified, because to answer, we are a PSAP center, which is 911 center. Just to answer that phone, you need EMD, emergency medical dispatch training. And you have to keep those certs up. That's another one of those required, that we call required training for our officers. There's a handful of officers who are desk certified. So we'll try to use an officer who's already working. That does take them from patrol on the road. If we cannot do that, we will put it out for overtime to the dispatchers, and then overtime to an officer as a last resort. But yes, I'm in favor of increasing those rates, and it's difficult to retain. We have a couple long time, but majority come and go.
I mean, I think there's unfortunately a small market for per diem dispatchers in this area. And if we could attract them and say, hey, come work for us, we're going to pay better than anybody else, that might work. I don't mind spending money to save money if that makes sense.
Agreed.
So
we'll do a survey on salaries for dispatchers and present findings to the council.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Next is tab 15, building and grounds. For anybody at home, it's page 41. Come on up.
Oh,
So we have sneakers.
Do you want to talk? You want me to talk?
Go ahead.
All right. Salaries at the top, you will see an increase of $40,000. That is because Mr. Waterman here has decided to retire as well at the end of the year. So that would provide a new employee to start about mid-year to come in at the lower level.
Right.
Sorry. Operating expenses remain the same. That 228, 250. Do you want to make any comments?
Just so you know, there's 4 employees in B&G, 3 that work with B&G, and 1 is custodian in the town hall and the library. As you can see, our other expenses, we came within $104, I think. So it's going to be tough keeping it that way, but we'll do our best to try to keep it under again. It's not easy with these new tariffs and everything like that. So any questions on the budget part?
I have a question.
Yes,
you did not ask, well, I have a statement. You did not ask for approval to retire. What happened?
Well, I figured after 45 years, I don't need approval.
Hey, if he just stops showing up,
resignation's not accepted. So.
Capitals. We only have 3 capitals because next year we might get hit with some fairly big numbers because of the facility audit that we have. We got a draft, but it's not complete yet. So the first one is the new truck for building and grounds. 2013. The compartments are rusting out. We have to put hasps on them to keep them closed so we don't lose our tools. So that's kind of a necessity. The annex building improvements is the police were there for a year and it got pretty well abused. Not abused, it got overworked. So we need carpets. There's a bunch of doors that are rusting out on the first floor that have to be changed out. And the security cameras, which is an everlasting thing. Last year we asked for 50,000. You asked me to give you a number for the whole thing. I came back with that number and you gave me 50,000. Ideally, to do the sewer plant and Everett Field, your new gem up there, I need about 140,000. So if you want to, be nice and be nice, we would be more than happy.
Nice is a part of it.
We'd be more than happy to accept your funds. But otherwise, the 50,000, we'll have to do a piecemeal again like we did.
You can fight Tom Jacobson for it.
Any
Any questions for Mr. Waterman, Councilwoman?
I think it's actually a question for our town manager. So we didn't budget as part of Everett the security piece.
The security piece is not, the cameras are not part of the Everett Field project itself from the general contractor. There are conduits and the preparatory work to install cameras has been completed. At the completion of the project, there may be some additional funding depending on the final cost of the project. There may be some funds available in the Everett Field bond that may be applied to security cameras there. That we will likely know in probably about 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a comment. Well, thank you for your 45 years of service. It's
wow.
Hopefully nobody else shows up here telling us they're going to quit.
Okay, you.
We got through Chief Kiernan's presentation without him resigning. But in all seriousness, I think you have certainly earned the right to retire. And thank you for all of your work. I know the township is better for it, for sure.
Thank you.
And you have you have kept an eye on these facilities like they were your own home, and we appreciate that because you can tell the pride of ownership and the work that's done. You've done a very good job training an excellent staff as well.
Thank you very much.
Deputy Mayor.
And just a question on annex building improvements. Does this include that balcony area? And
No, it
outside
doesn't.
Staircase?
Next year, there's a 75,000
That's the increase there.
improvement lot for next year.
We have you for this year, so we'll be picking your brain quite a bit.
All right, thanks, Len.
All right, thank you.
We'll be back during pool.
Okay.
So.
So I'm going to call for about a 5-minute recess at this
Sure.
point.
I say we skip public works. Just worrying about.
The money's already gone.
Someone else.
I don't know what that is.
The beeping.
That was, I think it was.
Sorry.
In the meantime, I'm going to pass this out before we get to water.
Chuck, we got them.
Yes, there was another public comment period after, yeah, after, at the end. See, item P. Oh, it's always after new business.
Oh, okay, yeah, because we saw it up here and then it didn't seem to happen.
Update.
He did call public comment, but he did it on the three.
I ran to that.
Okay.
Yeah, but they'll have it, they have to have it legally on that, yes.
Yeah.
I can only run like twice a week.
The other
Because it hurts. I can't do 2 days in a row anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah, I mean, once we know which way we're going. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. What is that? It's May or something? April. Yeah, you really got to start.
That's crazy.
I know you wanted that.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just update to water.
I think that's Liberty Recorder, boss.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I
can't believe they stopped making it. I love that. This thing, I get it. I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. Oh, good.
No, I've been for 11 years.
I think it's the paused.
Oh.
Recorder.
Yeah.
Mine's gonna last.
I'm hoping that last Trump years.
The number's knocking off the feet.
I've actually thought about it so much. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just replace the
I have them behind like the department listed by year. So like
I call the meeting back to order at 9:20. I think our mics are.
I got it. I'm sorry.
Yep.
There we go.
All right, I call the meeting back to order at 9:28. Back to you, Ms. Mascara.
Okay, tab 18, Street and Highway and Engineering. Chuck?
Just to let you know, I'm following suit. I'm leaving December 31st too. I want to do like Lenny and Tommy. I want to be like those guys.
No, you want to stay forever too.
I'll be here for a long time.
Yes. First page is salaries. You will see that there is an increase in salaries. Part of that is number 5. Oh, for everybody at home, sorry, I'm new to this. Page 36 for everybody at home. Our reserve for storm trust, I increased from 25,000, which was last year, to 75,000 this year. It's probably not enough. I'm just going to be honest. Our snow was insane this year. One of the overtimes alone was $85,000 for the January snowstorm. So that completely blew out that guess early on so far. So we will see how the rest of the year goes for our snow. Hopefully we don't have to say the S word any longer in 2026. But part of that increase you will see is part of that reserve for storm trust. Any comments on?
Does any of that number factor into overtime? The overtime line there or no?
We've been anything that's storm related, whether it's shoveling, snow shovelers, anything like that, is been going to line 5, just so that we can track it internally. Of course, it will override into the other lines as it will show a total. Say it's $100,000 this year. It will show in the storm trust, but if there's any money remaining in the regular overtime line, it just will show as a decrease there and a positive in the other one.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay. Next page is operating expenses. This operating expense has increased from $337,500 to $347,500. Most of this is your snow plowing and equipment line. Some of it has changed within the lines itself. Flowers and wreaths has increased, but some other items have decreased. You want to go over any of those?
You got any questions? It's cut and dry. It's right there.
Nope.
No. Okay.
These guys want to go home.
Next page is engineer. This has been pretty standard. Last year was 27,000. The reason it shows 22,000 in your books is because 5,000 was transferred out for another purpose. Engineer for everybody at home is page 24. So it pretty much stayed flat. On the next page is the capital request for Public Works. You want to go over those?
All right, we're looking to replace another dump truck. My fleet is old, and every year I'm trying to buy a couple of trucks just to get my fleet up to date. Our normal sidewalk repair, our normal catch basin repair, our normal stormwater repair of maintenance, running all the catch basins and stuff in town. There's another truck I'm looking to replace. I'm looking to replace 2 trucks this year. I want to upgrade some of my lawn equipment, which is all old. Shade tree maintenance and planting. That's our usual $75,000 for capital for a major project, and $25,000 for my residents who would like their shade trees. And my last big item is we need a garage for police impounds. We've been having problems when the chief impounds a car, it gets put in my garage, which is basically in general population. So we buy the cone, we try to barrel it, we try to keep it out of the way, but it's becoming an issue. We had a snowstorm early on where a car was in the wrong spot and I had to move it, and it cost the chief a lot of headaches because we had to touch the car. So I'm looking to put up a basic 2-bay garage, double deep. The chief will use it now for his impounds, put it down the sewer plant facility. When the police department gets into the building, they will have their garage. That will give my sewer plant a garage, which they never had. All their stuff is in trailers or left outside. So it's a dual purpose for this garage. Right now it'll be police. In the future, it'll go to the sewer plant.
So that would be like a Martin building.
Yes, more or less. Deputy manager has found quite a few buildings we found, and they seem like it's really going to work for. The chief was happy with it. So yes, nothing fancy, no water, no sewer, just lights and some heat.
Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you. So on the lawn equipment, obviously, like a lot of lawn equipment has a lot of noxious fumes, because they're gas. Like, so can you talk a little bit about when you replace, like what is the new equipment like, and are any of them green technologies, electric?
Electric or battery machines are not going to make it for me when I spoke to the guy, because I cut too many hours. I cut 5 days a week, 35, 40 hours. He said the amount of batteries I would need to back up would be phenomenal. So they're all new. They're the newer style equipment that I have. I mean, one of my big mowers that I want to replace is 15 years old. So of course it's old style lawnmowers. All the new stuff is more economical, more safe for the environment, and better.
And for the health of the employees.
Right. But yes, no. But a battery operator electric is not going to make it for me. From everybody I talked to, I cut too much grass.
So how many pieces of equipment is this capital funding, you think?
My one
roughly?
big machine. My big riding mower that I use for all the fields and all the schools, about 140,000. And then I'm looking to replace probably 5 or 6 of my stand-ups, my whips, my backpack blowers. It's quite a few pieces of equipment.
Okay, great. Thanks.
$140,000. It's very expensive.
It's a 97-inch.
Yeah.
Big deck. It's a big deck. The big ones we use on all the fields to cut. HB, FM Brown, Everett, Lynn.
Wow. Council Roman.
Just a sort of accounting mechanics question here for things like sidewalk repairs, catch basins, stormwater, et cetera. These are things that we mostly do with in-house labor, I assume. How exactly do we capitalize these? Is it just the materials we're capitalizing, or
it's outsourced?
It is outsourced.
It is outsourced, and it goes by complaints.
Okay. So if a catch basin fails, you call in someone to replace it?
I try to get a list of them, and we repair. Like right now, I think I got 6 of them for the winter that need to be done. Sidewalks are basically raised by shade trees. People complain. We try to figure out who's the worst. We might get 10 complaints, but I don't do them in that order. Maybe the 8th complaint is raised 4 inches, where 1 complaint's only raised 1 inch. So I put them in a priority, and we go as far as we can.
Okay, you go out to a contractor, and then that dollar amount gets capitalized.
And the stormwater maintenance is cleaning catch basins. Cleaning catch basins, run lines.
Okay.
I get X amount of dollars. I go as far as I could go. If they're not bad, I might get half the town done. If I run into problems, I might get a quarter of the town done.
Again, from an accounting policy perspective, is that something we should be using bond dollars for, or is that I don't mean to kick over a hornet's nest here.
Well, in the future, I've been speaking to the manager, and it might be feasible in the future to buy us our own truck and create a whole department for stormwater and sewer and stuff, but it's a big investment. So that's why we spoke about pushing it off till next year. I don't know, Kevin, you want to touch on it?
Yeah, that we'll touch on that with the water and sewer capital list, but that there was initially in the water and sewer capital budget, a jetter vac truck. That's been deferred until next year. We're currently pursuing a grant for the acquisition of that piece of equipment, and we're also looking for a shared service with the other towns in our flood advisory committee. So that would allow us to eventually eliminate this as an annual capitalized cost. It'll just be the piece of equipment, potentially offset with both grants and shared services.
Okay. And that'll be done. Then we'll do it in-house. We'll make basically put another department in the public works that'll take care of that in-house.
Okay. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
Tab 19, shade tree. This budget is remaining flat this year. For anybody at home, it's page 39.
It actually shows a $15,000 increase.
On your book?
Yeah.
The bottom line of it does.
The bottom line does.
Yeah, the line 4 pruning, raising, removal, repair went from 117 to 132.
Wait, not in my version.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
My
Oh, no,
my
not
book
in the
shows
printout.
135.
Yeah, I see 135, 2025 budget, 2026 proposed 150.
In the electronic workbook that we got, that's what it has.
Okay. It is 135.
Well, that takes that question.
Yes.
Any questions on shade tree? Councilwoman McGrath?
I just want to say that I just came from the Shade Tree meeting earlier tonight, and they thanked the administration for the Shade Tree budget, not just this one, but also a capital request, which Mr. Molinaro just went through. They are working on their 5-year strategic plan, and there is a list of, trees that need to be addressed with removals or serious maintenance, and that will be addressed in this budget. And then the capital is for tree planting.
Sure.
So that we can replace our aging canopy, and they'll have more information when their plan is done, which will be hopefully later this first quarter. Right. Thank you.
Moving to tab 20, vehicle maintenance. Vehicle maintenance last year was budgeted at 145, I believe. The increase here, is is due to transfers that happened last year to cover the additional expenses. But we are proposing 152.5 for 2026.
Councilman Roman?
Just again, our sheet here shows 2025 budget at 170, 2026 proposed at 152.5.
Yeah,
that's correct.
That was raised from the.
It was raised in a transfer.
Okay.
I just wanted to note that it was around 150 last year originally.
All right. Okay, I got it.
Any other question? Okay.
Tab 21 for recycling. The difference on the top, as you can see, salaries and wages, the full-time recycling coordinator used to be Lenny Waterman. It has now moved to another employee, and part of that salary has been transferred to the grant that he's working out of. So that's why you see the decrease up top. And the operating expenses was raised by $2,000.
Any questions? Nope.
Next. Okay. You can have a seat for now.
Thanks, Sue. Thank you.
Okay. Tab 23, recreation. I'm going to put on my recreation hat now since Pam is away. But if there are questions that I can't answer, I will obviously forward your comments and concerns to her. So salaries. The summer playgrounds in tab 3, sorry, everybody at home, number 43. Summer playgrounds, as you could see, was under budgeted in 2025. It came in at 160. There were some resident complaints that the counselor versus staff versus children ratio was, sorry, it's late now, was a little unbalanced, which is why we are proposing the 200,000. Also in regular recreation, there obviously has been some change over there, and they are proposing to hire an additional employee, but later in this year, probably November, December of this year, which is why you see the increase in their salaries. Their operating expenses have also increased. In years past, they have felt that they have been under budgeted for their programs. So they have requested a much larger increase than typical, which is what you will see there under their operating expenses. Town Fields is under recreation. However, Chuck is the one who basically runs the budget for the Town Fields, which includes the paint, the line painting and everything else. So that is increasing by 10 there. The thought process behind that was also adding in Everett Field, that we will need to maintain Everett Field. So part of the increase was part of that. Any questions on that page?
Any questions? No.
Okay. Tab 24, health. Their salaries, remain the same at 28,000, and their operating increased, which is basically our contracts for our shared services. Any questions on health?
No.
Tab 25 is seniors. There was discussion in this budget season of increasing our medical transport driver hourly wage, which is why you see the increase in the part-time salary and wages. And their operating increased by 2,000 on the bottom. Mostly it's their senior pool party. Any
and that
questions?
increase is from the pool charging more. For that
Correct.
party.
Yes. Thank you. If there's no questions on that, then that concludes our current fund. We can move either into water and sewer, or we can move into pool. If we move into pool, I have an employee here who is in the union. So if we can move him out of here, that would be helpful. Do you mind if we move to pool?
No.
No?
Not at all.
Okay. So we're gonna
sorry,
move to
I'm
tab
sorry,
28.
why is the employee leaving?
No. He's not leaving. He's here, but he's an OPIU employee, and all the other employees were department heads, and I would like to get him in and out if possible, if that's okay.
I'm sorry, is the employee just being asked to leave the meeting?
No. I'm trying to
Oh.
move pool in front of water and sewer.
So that he is able to go home soon.
Left
He just left the room.
Yeah, he just left.
That's what I was concerned
Sorry.
about. It's a public
Sorry.
meeting. Anyone's allowed to be here.
It is way past my bedtime.
Well, now
It's
that
usually
Chuck
like
is
2 hours
chasing
ago.
down your employee.
Okay. Sorry, I wanted him to be here, but not have
So
to
did I,
stay
apparently.
the whole time.
We were confused.
Okay, well, we'll start on tab 28. I didn't want you to leave.
Let the
I
record
was
reflect,
trying to move
everyone's
you
welcome.
out. Okay, come over here then. Tab 28, swimming pool. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. Sorry for the confusion. So the first page shows your anticipated revenue and your appropriations. Membership fees are based on your actual fees collected in 25. Same with your miscellaneous revenue, and your fund balance. I decreased to 145 instead of 200,000 from this year. So that covers that. For salary and wages, last year we budgeted originally at 402. There was a budget transfer, which is why you see 387.5 in 2025. So it went from salary and wages to operating. So we're keeping the 402 the same as our salaries came in way under what we had anticipated for 25. Knowing that we still will have increases this year as minimum wage obviously goes up and employees are working and their hourly wages have increased. Further operations. Let's go to there. Okay. Overall, last year they were at 250,850 for their budget. This year we're proposing 267,250. Part of that is a marketing plan for $10,000. I'm sorry, for everybody at home, page 55. Marketing plan number 21 for $10,000. There's been a lot of discussion on the pool that you all know that we are trying to increase memberships and trying to drive more residents to the pool. Most safety equipment last year, there was some life vests that were needed that they didn't have the certain size in stock, and you can't come to the pool with a life vest. You have to be using one of our provided life vests. So that's why some of those changes are there. On the last page are your capital improvement fund, which increased by $10,000 up to $35,000. Your payment of bonds, your interest on bonds, notes, your legal installment decreased this year due to the fact that we went out for bonds in February. Your contribution to Social Security increased, general insurance increased, your COVID deficit comes off this year. This is the last year, so COVID deficit will be gone in 27. So thank you for that. So that rounds out pool.
I have a
Go ahead.
question on
Yes.
on here. It looks like we're budgeting for membership to be similar to last year, but we added $100,000 of out of town memberships.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering what the rationale to kind of keep the anticipated revenue at last year's actual was.
So I can't anticipate the revenue that we received in 26 for the outside memberships until it's actually received, and it will be used next year in 27 for the budget process. But I can't put it in the 2026 budget in anticipated revenues since there was no actual revenue in 2025.
Okay, I mean would seem like the word anticipated would include revenue that we have, right, that people have cemented in. I guess my other questions for the township administration in that we're getting Mr. Krause's updates on the numbers as far as the registrations go. Can we get a spreadsheet even weekly of what our numbers are now compared to where they were at this time last year? I think that's really important because our marketing plan, as noted, is going to have to be dynamic based on if we see a downturn in membership or anything along those lines, in trying to rectify that. So if there's something that we could do, but it would help for the council to know, just kind of knowing what the current numbers isn't as helpful as knowing what they were in comparison to this time last year. So, but we didn't start at this point. We didn't start early enough registration, right?
I think we opened at the beginning of April.
Yeah.
So the data now is
Right.
100% ahead of
as we
where
go forward. It'd be helpful to kind of have that because obviously a lot of the revenue that we have now would have been revenue that we would have gotten, in the first couple weeks of April. So our April numbers are going to be a lot smaller than they would have been previously, right? So I'd like to start kind of seeing that as we go through, but it'd be helpful to have that information. Councilman Roman?
Yep. It's called a sales pacing report. I was curious about capital for the pool. I didn't see any in the list. I know we had talked about replacing some of the pool furniture this year.
Yes. All right.
There's two of them.
Yes, but where's my other page?
Furniture replacement for $50,000
Mm-hmm.
and repairs to the main building. There's underneath each, I'll call it A-frame for you, on the four sides. The wood is rotten, the main beam across it. So I think it's like 6x12. That's rotten on all spots. We did the snack bar one 2 years ago. 3 years ago, we did that one, and these are very bad, so they have to be done.
Okay.
And the $50,000 furniture replacement will get us about 25 tables this year, and another 25 next year, and that should be all the tables. Then we have to work on the benches around the pool.
Does that appear anywhere in the capital plan, or is that?
It does in the not in I guess the sheets here, but it does in the
I'm looking
pamphlet at the the last page.
Yeah, I just have the spreadsheet for it. It doesn't have a page for pool. So
It's going to be on the totals page. Pool does not, I don't think, has its own tab.
Right. All right. Someone else can jump in.
Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you. So on the pool budget, electricity costs, how did you estimate the increase there? Because from a homeowner perspective, it's getting scary. So, which the councilwoman warned us on. for
Yes.
about 2 years. So
Yes. I mean, most budgets, as you know, are a guess. It all depends.
well, I guess here's what, is this an educated guess using what you're seeing the PSE&G bills
Yes,
come in
correct, yes.
for the other, facilities which you have data for? So you're projecting out. Have you had conversations with them at all?
I have not had conversations with PSE&G, but based on our last year bills and obviously the way they've been progressing higher, it's a guess though.
Okay.
Any other questions related to that? Okay.
You're covered.
Okay, moving back to thank you. Now you may leave if you want. If you want,
or you can say, or you can say.
Excuse me. Rich is here because he's going to be taking over for me. I forgot to mention that before.
Oh,
so
great.
he'll be taking over me, and then so he's learning what to do.
Rich,
you have to
congratulations and
condolences.
next year. All right. Tab 27. Come on up. Water and sewer.
This
I
is my
know.
favorite one.
Water and sewer. Okay. Okay, page 1. Anticipated revenue at the top. I don't give you any of this. Yeah. Your fund balance is remaining at 375. Your rents is increasing, and your miscellaneous is increasing as well to give us a budget of $8.4 million. At
Jen,
the
could I stop you
Yes,
there again?
yes, you may.
Okay, now in this one.
Yes.
Okay, this is anticipated revenue, but we have a number from 2025 that is $1 million higher than this. I'm just
Correct.
curious as to what the threshold for what we can anticipate is.
You can anticipate as much as you received in the prior year.
Okay, so why are we not anticipating more? Are we?
You want to anticipate $9 million in utility?
I'm
Which
trying to budget as accurately as possible.
Right.
I feel like just having kind of a windfall. At
So-
the end.
So that's how you build surplus.
No,
Yeah.
I understand that's how you build surplus, but at the same point, I feel like, $1 million is, or $800,000 maybe is a little much in fund balance. Just
yes, but in comparison, okay, so for the water and sewer capital, for water and sewer utility itself, if I was to budget up to, let's say, $8 million in rents and make that, close to $9 million, they don't need $9 million in operating. I can do that and have the same effect like you talked about surplus, but if I give them the power to spend $9 million, he's going to spend $9 million. If they don't need to spend $9 million, I'm not going to give them $9 million, even if the revenues came in higher last year. It's more of budgeting based on what they actually need versus what they can use.
The difference here is that this doesn't function like the general fund where we set a tax rate based on the need that we have for, after all the other expenses. This, we're not going backwards and setting a water rate. We set the water rate separately by ordinance. So it's actually almost preferable. We want to build some surplus back up in this utility. And if we need to set a rate, that's a completely separate action that we would take. That's not part of the assembly of the state budget.
So I understand all of that. I just would like us to be, I'm just curious as to where we are, because if we're getting at this point $1 million over our anticipated, it means that we need to start being realistic about what our rates are, and that's another piece of it as well. And I know that there was a capital or an item in here for another rate study update for this, and I think that's going to be very important because for the public, who we've been hearing a lot, not just about tax increases, but also about our utility increases, which were pretty significant for a while in order to meet immediate needs, but we've also had we've had more money come back in principal forgiveness and things like that. So between that and these numbers, it is important for our ratepayers that we charge them a rate that we understand is reasonable based on where we are moving forward. because everything is getting more expensive. Our utility companies on electric and gas are gouging their ratepayers as well. So, I think we're in a situation where if we can provide a better rate for our residents, we should do that. But we need to look at what those numbers are going to be sustainably.
But again, the way that you get there is by having excess surplus, and then the rate study is going to show. The problem is that if you, as she said, if you put it in here in the top line, it opens up the ability for it to be spent. If you don't put it in there and you build excess surplus, and then you run a rate study, your rate study is going to forecast your surplus over time, and it's going to show your surplus at greater than you want it to, which is going to do a better job of justifying a rate freeze or reduction than allowing for more room in the operating budget.
That's why I said we should have the rate study in lieu of changing this, right? So, fine. I think we need to be honest with our ratepayers on these numbers. Go ahead, Jen.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Moving into salaries. The difference here is your overtime has increased for water slightly. You also have an increase for sewer regular, as we are trying to hire additional staff members for the sewer plant. Do you want to
Our
go
staffing at the
any
sewer
further
plant at
on
one
that?
time used to be 12. Now we have 8. We're looking to bring it back to 12. We can start getting back into doing the maintenance and the repairs and stuff like that, instead of just the day-to-day operations and just putting out fires. So the next couple of years, we'd like to get that staffing back up to where it used to be, to 12 people.
Okay.
In their operating expenses, overall, the bottom line increased about $150,000. Some of that is the health insurance, general insurance, the sludge removal has increased. Chemicals have increased. I'm keeping water purchases the same as we are back online for Lynn Drive, but I'll have to see how that goes as well. The other difference this year is last year we added in the well costs of $100,000, which is line 11 for people at home. It's page 50. We're keeping it the same in anticipation of seeing how the wells and the maintenance of the wells online continue.
Councilman
When are we going to have to do our first filter media change in the?
Right now, we're just monitoring every month.
Okay.
Right now, I don't even think we're close, but we keep monitoring. That's going to be a big ticket item that comes. The media change is a big ticket item. That's why I already spoke to Jen. We're probably going to have to up the wells next year when well number 2 is back online.
But hopefully be able to reduce the water purchase number at the same time.
Correct. But the media change is, with it being online the first time, we're still waiting to see how long we can make it before we need to change it. And we're monitoring it every month.
And I guess, when is the last time we sort of figured how much water when did the well go back online?
January? Was it?
It might have been February or March of last.
So we have about a full year run rate of having that one back on. We ended up at 2 million.
But don't forget, Fairview is a bigger producer.
Yeah.
Fairview's our bigger producer. So this is a decent producer. We should see a difference when we get Fairview back online.
Okay.
The last page is your Social Security, your insurance, your capital improvement funds, pension, reserve for terminal leave, your debt service, which ends up all coming down to about the same amount of money as it was in 2025. I handed out a revised water sewer capital list that should be on your computers or in your area. This was revised to move the vac truck out of 2026 and into 2027, and added in the Franklin Street water main replacement, the design of clarifier upgrades, the rate study, as you mentioned, and the phase 2 nitrates for design only. Do you want to touch on anything?
Any questions on these? They're pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, which water main is it on Franklin Street?
On Franklin Street,
Is this
the
the one that
pedestrian
broke?
bridge. with the pedestrian bridge on Franklin Street?
Yeah.
The water main.
The
under
one at
bridge.
Brookside that had the issue.
Right. Well, it's under the bridge through the brook.
Oh,
So in the process of, we're looking to do the bridge.
As part of the bridge replacement, now would be the opportunity to reset and lower the water main that is currently starting to stick above the bed of the river at this point.
So we want to do that before we do the bridge.
That would seem like a good sequence of events.
Anything else you want to talk on there?
Councilwoman McGrath?
Are we planning on, is it possible to do that construction in the summer, or is that going to overlap with the school year? Can we get the timing, or is it too close?
The construction window is going to be largely driven by the permits. So there's going to be blackout periods of when you can and cannot perform the construction, and that's subject to when we get the final permits. They're usually spelled out in the permits by the DEP.
Okay. It's going to be disruptive for the FM Brown students. Okay.
Deputy Mayor?
How much of that line are you replacing from where it broke to the other side of Franklin?
We're looking to go through the water and 50 feet in each direction.
It's right. It's approximately 150 feet of both an 8-inch main and a 12-inch main.
Right. We're looking to
or
change
6-inch main and 12-inch main.
Okay.
And yes, we're going back. Yes, back on both sides. Yeah, I think it was like 200 feet of each main.
Right.
To replace. And so that should take us past the break.
Got it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's what it was. Keep that valve though.
Oh, it's valve staying there. Valve staying there.
Jen, nothing else for you?
Nothing else for me tonight.
Chuck, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I think we are back to the Township Manager's report.
Well,
Would you like to?
That certainly concludes my report. I'll make a suggestion that our deputy manager also forego his report.
That suggestion is appreciated. Okay, now we're at council member reports. Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Obviously, in light of the time, I'll be brief. I don't want to repeat, but I do thank the Mandarin teachers for their Lunar New Year celebration, and maybe suggest that next year it be somewhere in a larger venue than the community center, because the community center gym was very, very packed. But it was a wonderful celebration. I too attended the Ramadan meal that the Verona Clergy Council had, and I thank them for all that they do for Verona. This group has just been fantastic in bringing people together. And unfortunately, I had to leave early. I did go to the West Orange Planning Board meeting because they had deliberations for the 496 units that they're trying to build at the top of Howell Drive there. And I know the council received an email from a concerned resident in the area. They didn't ask for a road onto Howell. The road that's proposed in the plan is currently an emergency access road. The board decided at the end, they were almost voted on it, and the board decided to give the applicant 2 months. It will be on the agenda next month and the following month. It'll get postponed and pushed off, but they have to put it on for legal purposes and noticing. They are going to give the applicant a 2-month opportunity to find a second ingress and egress to the property. And one choice is Howell. Another choice would be Oval Road, which goes into Essex Fells, but Essex Fells owns that property. So I'm hoping it's going to be an interesting finding to see what happens with this development. But the board was pretty unanimous on making sure they did that. So to be determined in the future. And lastly, tomorrow night, any business owner in Verona is welcome. There's a meet and greet at Frank Anthony's that the Verona Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring. So anybody who has a business and wants to come and greet other business owners and possibly join the chamber, you're invited tomorrow at 5:30 at Frank Anthony's. And that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilman Roman.
In light of the hour, I will be pleased to waive my report, Mayor.
And we are pleased to accept that. Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you. As I already mentioned, the Shade Tree Committee met tonight. Tomorrow is the Neighborhood Traffic and Safety Committee. I attended the County Executive State of the County which is always a great presentation. I want to thank the Essex County for all of their efforts and their investments in our parks, recreation, and other services. And I too attended Lunar New Year. It was excellent. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Holland.
Thank you. I will just offer this evening that I did attend the recent MIAC committee meeting, and I just want to thank those volunteers for all of the work that they do organizing several of the events that we have here in town, including the Lunar New Year event and many others. I also just want to remind residents that the time for the winter termination program, which provides needed utility assistance during the winter, is coming to an end at the end of this week. So it is really your last opportunity to avail yourself of that. And given the current affordability crisis, I do think it's really important for residents to understand their rights with regard to their utility bills. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open for public comment on any item any member of the public wishes to bring forth to the council. Same public comment statement applies.
Agenda items or not?
Any item, anything you want to talk about. If you want to read a cookie recipe, you're welcome to do that from the, up there. Just state your name.
Gary Schneiderman, Verona. So we just want to start a dialogue because we live up on Claridge Drive, and we understand that council is in negotiations to use some of your Green Acres money to purchase a piece of property by the Pilgrim Center between where you're actually, I guess, doing the pump station. And I guess you're going to take $80,000 off of watching the budget. You're going to take that off your tax rolls. And from what we've been told, some woman came to speak to us, Linda Glajinski, is that you would be spending about 1.8 million of your Green Acres fund, hoping for a match from the state. So we just want to know how it came about. Did you come looking for it? What happened?
Thank you. We don't do a back and forth. So once all the public comment is over, we'll respond. Okay. Yeah. Yes, come on up.
Jill Schneiderman, Verona, same issue. So once we were educated by the woman from Green Acres, I started to research and try to find, she said we would have very easy access online to find out the 50-50 money that you requested for Green Acres to split the cost of the 9 acres of property. And I could only find one instance that Verona received any Green Acres money, which was like $1 million, but you requested close to what she said our number would be. So I don't know if that is that. And then other information I found was that the deadline wasn't until April 29th or March 29th. And so is that in the process? Do you have the money from the state? We're just trying to educate ourselves so that we know what's going on. We felt that during the presentation, we were also told that everything was set in stone with your obligation for the low-income housing. And then we sit here tonight and hear how you're still in the process of finalizing all that. So that makes us have even more questions. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place, which has nothing to do with you, that the Claridge has asked us to vote by March 12th, but we haven't had the opportunity to fully educate ourselves as to whether we are in favor of selling the land to the town of Verona with Green Acres funds or not. So if you have any information that can educate us, we would truly appreciate it. We brought a few people here with us. There's way more at home waiting to see what we find out.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, this time I'll close public comment. I'll just address some of these items. I'm glad you're here and asking questions directly from us because that certainly is helpful to make sure you get the whole picture. Verona has an open space trust fund. That is, the money for that trust fund is raised. It's 3 cents for every $100 of assessed value on your property. and that money comes into a trust fund. And with that trust fund, which is separate from the tax rolls, we are able to do a number of things, include acquire property, put upgrades to existing open space, and various other items. The council was approached by representatives of the Claridge buildings through the administration, stating that this property was available, and if the township wanted to procure that property. The matter was discussed between the administration and then sent to our Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Committee for review, and that committee recommended to the council to purchase this land. And we had additional discussions. A lot of this happened in executive session because it's a negotiation until we came to the price. So that's just why it wasn't done in public. At this point, that's where we are. So the township is able to purchase open space in this area. By purchasing that open space and then submitting for 50% reimbursement from Green Acres, it ensures that property is undevelopable. Okay, which means that right now that is zoned for a mid-level high-rise building, that area, and by the town purchasing that, you would be in a position where you would be assured that your view would not be interrupted, that you wouldn't have additional traffic, that you would not have a building be built there. And at the same time, the township is able to limit the impact on the school system of potential construction at that site, and traffic matters and all of those things related to quality of life, while having some passive recreation property that exists there. So as far as the Green Acres funding, the township has actually gotten how many millions of dollars in the last?
The last funding round last year was $1 million on its own. Every year, the state allocates awards town by town, and for the past few years, it's been $500,000 to $700,000, and last year it increased to $1 million for the township of Verona.
So what the township does is we use the trust fund and the bonding power of the trust fund to purchase land. So the township purchased a couple of major tracts, one between Commerce Court and Brookside Terrace, and then another on Mount Prospect at the same time as the last round of affordable housing in order to prevent units from being purchased there. And that was negotiated with the developer at that point. So what happens is that every year we are able to apply, and they'll pay us another chunk of that money because only so much money for Green Acres is budgeted every year. So, and that's distributed around the municipalities and the counties that apply for that. So we don't get a chunk back at one time. So that's why you're seeing $1 million there, but we've actually gotten multiple payments back from Green Acres on that recent purchase. We also have gotten money for we've applied for the Everett. That's already Green Acres, sorry. But there are other areas we can do with that. So I see the advantage of the Claridge property purchasing that area as mutually beneficial, right? We're preserving an area that I think it's better for you as the residents to have that preserved, because you're now not dealing with another building there, but it's also, so you get that benefit and you also get that income benefit to apply toward capital expenses or whatever you need to do to maintain the buildings that were built 60 years ago. Right.
$150 without the use.
So we unfortunately we can't have a back and forth, but I understand,
Can we have another comment?
at the end of the meeting, yes. But at the same point, that makes sure the township is in a position where not only do we preserve open space, but then we also don't have to expend on the infrastructure and things like policing and all that in order to be able to provide that. And as you know, this is one of the last remaining large pieces of open space in the municipality, which makes it important to Verona to purchase in that area. I know I've heard some concerns about who would be on the property and so on. Yes, the property would be available to the public and to picnic on or whatever. But as of this point, there's no budgeted improvement on the property as far as what that would be. So in the near future, that would be a wooded area. I can't tell you what would happen down the line in that property, but it wouldn't be developable. It could only be used for active or passive recreation space. So it's just a couple thoughts out there that I know are coming out, but from this standpoint, we make the outlay. We would actually bond for this through the trust fund, and then we would apply for that Green Acres funding for additional reimbursement every year in that area. Councilman Roman?
And a couple of things about the trust fund. When the rates have been set on that trust fund, they were set by the voters. Initially, the proposal went out to create the trust fund. That went to the voters, and then when there was an increase to it, that also went out to the voters. So we are not using the township's general capital fund and general bonding capacity to do this. The open space trust fund is its own separate pool of money that, as we said, is assessed per $100 of assessed value of all the parcels. So this doesn't affect the township's general operating account. The budget that we use to pave roads and buy pickup trucks and things like that is not the same money that goes to purchase land. The other thing about us preserving open space is that there's a very large strategic move here in terms of future rounds of affordable housing. The more land that you have committed as preserved as open space reduces the realistic development potential of your township as a whole. And it does put a leaky cap basically on how many units can ultimately be developed. In this round, they have said if you're claiming an RDP cap, you still have to meet a certain percentage of your total affordable housing need, but you still get a reduction overall. And it comes into the negotiations of, okay, how many units of housing can the township of Verona actually accommodate throughout the town? So that's why we look for these large tracts of open space and try and preserve them, because it's beneficial not just to a neighborhood, but to the township as a whole. And then also, again, the big defense move we try and avoid having to get into a situation where the schools ever have to expand or have to hire up, because then that's a tax rate increase for the entirety of the town. So we look at a lot of factors when we go into this, but as the mayor said, there are very few large tracts of land available, which is why this one was attractive to us. The strategy of working through Green Acres has been very effective. Even though you have only seen those dollar amounts, we go back every year basically on the same parcels until the reimbursable amount is exhausted. So up to the budget of which they can reimburse us in a year, we get that. Then we go back in the next year and we ask again and we ask again. And eventually we get, hopefully 50% of the full value. So it's been working for us, and it's let us preserve land at a lower overall impact to the public. And it's a strategy we've talked a lot about. So this is, hopefully this is sounding agreeable and like we've reasoned through this.
We get to talk at the end again, right?
Yes, but you can't talk now. That's the rules. You have to.
Sorry, procedures. But I'll stop now and let someone else.
Councilwoman Holland.
Thank you. So first of all, thank you both. Thank you both for speaking, but thank all of you for attending this evening. I think you're doing absolutely the right thing. You're hearing a lot of different points of view on this important topic that you're being asked to vote on, and you're seeking that information. So I think there is some publicly available information that you can access. So for example, discussion of this Claridge property, I believe, is in the affordable housing plan, which there's some letters that are attached to that plan. So you can see some of this back and forth that Mr. Tamboro was referencing that is posted on the township website, correct? So the affordable housing materials are there on the township website. So you can see that plan. You can see what this back and forth was and how the Claridge property was factored into it. You're also hearing from two representatives of the council that also sit on the open space committee and what their point of view is for why it was appropriate to move forward with this. But ultimately, this would require further vote. And so I think it's important for you all to consider what you think is in your best interest, because open space doesn't just mean it's never developed. It is for recreational uses. It is for the public. There would be an expectation of at least like a parking spot or two. And so I think those were some items that were mentioned by Mr. Tamboro as well. And we can't say that it would never be developed and always just be woods. There may eventually be some recreation facilities there. It wouldn't be a housing development. is really ultimately what the preservation for Green Acres is doing, right? It would be for recreational use. And oftentimes that can just be woodlands or a hiking trail or something like that. A lot of times Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts do activities out in those type of open space areas. So there's a lot of value in preserving open space in our community. It also helps with stormwater management as well. So it is valuable, but I think that you are all doing the right thing by digging into this a little bit deeper and verifying for yourself some of the representations that have been made to you, whether in your meetings at the Claridge or even here this evening. And if there's some additional public information, I would just ask, like if it's posted on the website, whether the Open Space Committee materials or some other, if the administration or others would just make sure that the residents are made aware of where they can find that. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
I just quickly want to add, I think the major point that we're trying to make here is that once Green Acres funding is used to purchase a property, once we apply for it and they grant us money, it cannot be developed. It cannot be developed. However, if we decide to put a walking trail or we're going to spend any money to do any work on the property, it will come before the council and you have another opportunity to get up and speak and tell us what you obviously give your opinion on whether you're for or against what is going to happen to the property. We have used it and it's been very well in the town. The last round we purchased 26 plus acres and we have been getting Green Acres funding back for that property. We prevented 360 units from being built in Verona and on both pieces of property collectively. So it is a good tool that we have and we try to use it for the benefit of the entire town of Verona.
Mayor? Mr. Township Attorney.
I just wanted to point out for the rest of the public, because I know the public here today is from the Claridge. Councilwoman Holland kind of hit on it. If Claridge agrees to this, the proposed contract of sale comes back to the township. And within 20 days, this council will vote whether or not to pass a resolution. If the council passes that resolution after public input, of course, then there's a bonding ordinance that's read twice that, again, the public gets to. So there has not been what I'll call robust public discussion because we're not there yet. There's nothing for the public to consider because the council hasn't made any determination, neither has Claridge. But if Claridge says, hey, we're willing to sell you this, that's when the actual, I'll call it large public discussions will happen, first by a resolution and then by 2 readings of an ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Township Attorney. Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a question of our township attorney, just confirmation. The only thing the council, though, did vote on is we did an application to Green Acres and we did list it as a potential future purchase or.
Look at the administration. That's correct. It was listed.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, and we voted on that 2 meetings ago.
So that was the general resolution and application for funding request for the 2026 Green Acres calendar year.
Okay.
That would continue to seek reimbursements for the parcels that were acquired several years ago.
Yep.
To close out the reimbursements out to the township. And it also identifies that as a parcel that has been opened up for negotiations. But it separates it from a project that has been acquired as just a project that is currently under negotiation.
Great. So just to wrap up, I think if you look at the affordable housing plan, you're going to see some documentation in there about the parcel. And then we also have this resolution. So those are 2 formal and all of them meeting documents from the previously mentioned open space meeting. So those are all the formal documents. But as the township attorney said, we have not voted to purchase this property just yet. Thank you.
Councilman Roman.
Just procedurally, so you know, we were going to go through our consent agenda here and through new business, and item P on the agenda is our next general public comment. So if you have, unfortunately, public comment, unfortunately, is not a back and forth questioning. It's public comment, and then we respond to it just in terms of our. So just wanted to make sure you knew, but that's your next time. I know it's getting late. I appreciate it.
The next item on the agenda is ordinance H8 on second reading. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
amending Chapter A565 fees of the Township Code, specifically Sections A565-1, Schedule of Fees, A565-3, Administrative Fees, and other fees, and A565-6, Uniform and Construction Code fees.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll move the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconds by Ms. Holland. At this time, I'll open for public comment on any on this ordinance 2026-09. Same public comment statement applies just for this ordinance. Hearing none, I close public comment. Any council discussion? Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you. I will not be supporting this ordinance. I'm not 100% comfortable on the fees for the body worn camera footage. As I previously stated, I do not like the fact that there are entities that are monetizing body worn camera footage. And so I agree in concept we should be charging something. I would have liked more data, use data going back in time on this. And I'm not sure we fully thought through all of the exceptions, so I'm not 100% comfortable. So I won't be supporting this. I am supportive of the other fee increases. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland?
Yeah.
Councilwoman McGrath?
No.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo?
Yes.
Mayor, ordinance 2026-09 passes with a vote 4-1 and will be published according to law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are we not doing?
We're gonna.
This one, yeah.
We have to table
Defer.
that, the next one.
All right.
Pull H9.
I'll hear a motion to table ordinance number 2026-10.
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made by the deputy mayor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2026-11 on second reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending Chapter 390, Property Maintenance, Article 2, Lead-Based Paint Hazard Inspection Requirements for Rental Dwellings.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance, please?
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilman Roman. At this time, I'll open public comment on this ordinance only. The same public comment statement applies. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo?
Yes.
Mayor, ordinance 2026-11 passes 5-0 and will be published according to law.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is an ordinance marked as I-1 for introduction. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Oops, what happened?
We're seeing the carpet.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
There we go.
It's sensitive when I don't need to touch it. Establishing a new Chapter 382 of the Township Code entitled Pest Control upon Demolition or Moving of Buildings.
Thank you. Would somebody please move this exciting ordinance?
So moved.
Motion is made by the deputy mayor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilman Roman. At this, no, any council discussion on this one? No. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy? Sorry.
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo?
Yes.
Mayor, ordinance I-1 will be numbered 2026-12, will be published according to law. A public hearing will be held on March 23rd.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is an ordinance marked as I-2. For introduction, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending Chapter 150 zoning, Article 7, regulations governing certain accessory uses, specifically Sections 5 and 13. And there's a typo in the title for governing outfits.
Thank you. Would somebody move this ordinance, please?
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is by Councilman Roman. Any council discussion? Deputy Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, in Section D on the second page, ABC, noise, it says in the generator section, no generator shall be located within a side yard. Can we add front and side yard? I think we just overlooked and thought that people will not put it in the front yard, but I think it should And I'm also worried about a corner lot because then you're talking about 2 front yards,
Correct.
and you don't want a generator be someone looking. So
I have no objection to that change.
Yeah, we can. I don't have an objection to it, and it's on introduction, so we can make the change. Yeah.
Yep. Front and side yard.
All right. Any other items? All right, we'll have that change for adoption. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
As amended.
As amended. Yep.
Okay. Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro?
Yes.
Mayor, ordinance I-2 will be number 2026-13. It will be sent to the planning board for consistency review, the master plan.
Okay. Thank you. We are moving now on to the consent agenda. I'll hear a motion to approve K1 and 2 and L4, 5, and 12.
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Roman. This time we'll for public comment on the consent agenda only. The same public comment statement applies. Hearing none, I close public comment. Any council discussion on the consent agenda?
I did, yes.
Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the
I have
roll,
a
please. Oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor.
Yes. On an L4, this is the amendment to the pilot agreement, and we're extending it 2 years to a 32-year. My question is, and I wanted to bring it up before, but our experts have left. This property has a 30-year deed restriction that this now pilot agreement will extend past. How can we extend that deed restriction to 32 years if we're extending the pilot agreement also to 32 years?
We can certainly get back to you on that, but the financing is requiring that. And I believe part of the financing requires it to be affordable. So I think it's already done, but we'll get back to you to ensure that that's the case.
Just to be sure, because after 30
Yep.
years, it could be not affordable, and then their obviously revenue is spiking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
We keep it.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro?
Yes.
Mayor, resolutions 4 through 10 will be numbered 062 through and including 068, and then 12 will be 069.
Thank you. We have no licenses or permits this
No.
evening. Going to new and unfinished business. Do you still have the intent to?
We can table these and discuss them at a future meeting.
I
I
think
don't think there's
that-
anything time sensitive.
Okay. I mean, it would be helpful even when we do.
Appointment. I know the date.
Yeah, no, we're getting to that. I'm just going to O. For the Environmental Commission appointment, there was a misprint on the agenda. There was Mr. Sudia applied, but there's an existing alternate that the commission wished to move up. That alternate is my appointment. So I hereby appoint Kelly DiGeronimo to the unexpired term for a public member expiring January of 2028. And I'll hear a motion to appoint Mr. Sudia as the alternate to fill Ms. DiGeronimo's position.
I'll make that motion.
The motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
The second is by Councilwoman McGrath. Any discussion? We just need the date.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The unexpired term for alternate 1 will end 1/17/2027.
All right, call the roll on that, please.
1/17. Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro?
Yes.
Mayor, Both appointments passed 5-0 will be notified.
At this time, we'll open for a couple public comment again on any item anybody wishes to bring forth to the council. The same public comment statement applies.
So our concern.
Yep, up here. Just state your name again.
Go to
Just
the
state your name
mic.
again.
Okay, Jill Schneiderman, Verona. So we're chatting back there, and one of our concerns is what we heard from you is different from what we heard from your representative at our meeting. And we'd like to believe you, but that was the information she gave to our community the night we had our meeting. So is there something I don't know about developing? We were told there was going to be a parking lot with 3 spots and a hiking trail, and bathrooms were not sure of. And there was a whole big, we had a zillion questions, and that was like the bottom line as to what we were told. We were also told the number was 3.7, that half of the money was coming from Verona and half was coming from the state. Does that 3.7 number stay 3.7? So we just want to make sure that what information this person was spewing to us is accurate information. I don't know how else to find out.
I can't respond to you while you're up there.
Okay,
but
I'm
once
moving.
once public comment is over, we can respond to you.
So,
Just state your name
Gary
again.
Schneiderman,
please.
Verona. So my question is, how many more meetings will we have an opportunity to come to before when it's before it's voted on by you? And if you purchase it, we don't have to know ahead of time from you exactly what your plans are for that property. So you can purchase it and then decide what you want to do at a later date.
Any other public comments? All right, I'm going to close public comment. My suggestion is for Ms. Schneiderman, set up a meeting with Mr. O'Sullivan, the township manager, to go through everything. Ms. Glashinsky is a consultant who does not work for Green Acres. She works for the Land Conservancy of New Jersey. She's a consultant that we hire on these items. Mr. O'Sullivan represents the town on this area. Ms. Glashinsky is very well-rounded in these areas, and she's an excellent consultant. But what I think she was giving you was a broader overview of what the Green Acres program would allow and so forth. As of right now, the township can't take any further action on this property until there's an affirmative vote from both Claridges, right? So until that time, we're in a holding pattern. But you can go through. So right now, the money that we would be paying would be for the acquisition of the property. Because that money comes from Open Space Trust Fund, it needs to be for open space. Okay. When we apply for Green Acres and get any reimbursement from Green Acres, that makes it furthers that inability, that restriction to do any development. As far as a walking trail or bathrooms, yes, we would have to put parking because it has to be accessible, and Claridge is a private road, so we would have to put a couple parking spaces in, but there's an existing easement if we needed it, if some arrangement weren't made with the Claridges. As far as hiking trails or whatever, those are ideas that exist. We're under no obligation to build those, but we are under an obligation to have the site accessible to the public, right? So you have to define what accessibility is and what it would be used for. And I can't promise anything, but I would conceive if there were some kind of furnished trail there, that it would be set back from the property line, right? So you wouldn't, when leaf covering was there, you probably wouldn't even notice people in the woods from where the building is, but that's just how I would do it. I can't say that's how the council would do it in the future, because in 10 years, a different council could say, okay, we want to put a hiking trail there, because they can do that. Right. But all I can tell you is what my intention for this property is at this point. But I strongly encourage you to set up a meeting with Mr. O'Sullivan, who would be happy to take that meeting. I speak on his behalf as I'm his agent now. He gave me the nod before, so you have that. But feel free, and you're also welcome to call me at any time if you have any questions. And I can give you my phone number at the end of the meeting. As not now. No. Oh yeah, on the phone. On the phone we can talk back. But I just violated the rules by answering you just now, so I'm gonna have to sanction myself later for that. But anyway, I'm happy to give you my number and talk to you anytime. I talked to a number of your residents about this already, and I know Deputy Mayor McAvoy did as well, and provided a good overview as far as where we see this project going at this point. But I really appreciate you being here, because I know a lot of speculation happens around these times. This is a big decision for the residents of the Claridges, and I know I live directly across the street from a golf course, and I just hope every day that golf course stays a golf course, and that is very much on my mind every day, and that's one of those things. So I'll do whatever I can to keep that going. But so it's another thing. I think we have some things in common as far as that goes. And recently the township was gifted land behind my property. I was not allowed to be part of those conversations, but obviously I had concerns related to that, because